and here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
RCPA chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, planet.
Water towers, fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. FD off. It's orange.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Decollage.
Look at this!
Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go. Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane will be igniting with the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Well, hello and happy Thursday to everybody here. This is Countdown to Launch, your daily news drip to the launch campaign that is IFT5 that will tentatively happen on the 13th of October, this Sunday, pending regulatory approval. I am your host, EJ, here. I stream on Twitch, but I also do commentary here on NASA Spaceflight, and I'm the host today. So this is going to be fun. And always, and as always, joining me is my ever, as Jack would say, my ever competent cohort of co-hosts. I think that's how he says that. We got Ryan Weber, resident subject matter expert. Ryan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, EJ. How are you doing? You know, we're going.
I'm doing just fine.
Yeah.
How are you hype on Starship or what?
Yeah, I'm ready for Flight 5. Let's go. Yeah, I'm ready. Been doing a lot of work on it. I can't wait to see this thing fly. It's gonna be so much fun.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great. And then I have the new guy in here, Cody. Why don't you introduce yourself to these fine folks here?
Hi, I'm Cody. I'm, as EJ said, the new guy here. I've done a couple of streams in the past, but this is my first time on camera for one of these more talk show-like streams. I'm super excited for Starship Flight 5 coming up here pretty quick. I mean, the days are kind of getting faster as we get closer and closer to launch here, so I'm super hyped. Some things are going on leading up to launch, and it's looking pretty good, in my opinion there. So, yeah.
Cody, I don't think that rocket behind you is pointy enough.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
It has to be more pointy. We need to instill fear into our enemies.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I do
cool.
high power rocketry. So this is my L1 that I'm going to be launching sometime not this weekend. I was supposed to launch this weekend, but something else decided to launch this weekend. So I'm not going to be able to launch that one.
We got pending regulatory approval. We got a lot of action coming this weekend. But
yes,
we're here to talk about Starship. Ryan, fill me in. What's going on? What do we got since yesterday?
Well, since yesterday, all 6 charges have been installed in the vehicles. Yes, 6. There's 2 on the booster methane tank, 2 on the LOX booster tank, and then 2 into Ship 30. As far as I know, since like 7 a.m. this morning or so, the boxes haven't been closed up yet, so there's still that to be done, which means the pins aren't probably pulled yet. We have seen the pressurization trailer leave, which is what they usually use to keep Ship 30 pressurized and stuff like that, so they're pretty close to stacking. 30 was moved back between the sticks. The sticks haven't engaged yet, though, so it's just kind of sitting there, and they'll make the call when to stack, whenever they're ready, I guess. Who knows what other checkouts they have left to do. So it's kind of interesting. There haven't been many lifts around the vehicles or the sticks at all most of the day today. They've just been kind of sitting around. So maybe it's software checkouts or other things that they're trying to go through a plan right now before they stack this vehicle. So it's kind of where we're at.
Cool. Now, and Cody, you said you wanted to talk about flight termination systems here.
Mm-hmm.
what's the detail of kind of a flight termination system for a rocket this big? Is it different than the one you got behind you? What are we talking about here?
Well, the flight termination system on this rocket, its entire purpose is to just prevent this rocket from leaving its path too far. So if our rocket starts to drift towards, let's say, a population center, we don't want that to happen. So we have our explosive charges put there on the actual structural members of the rocket, the things that will kind of crumple it if they're gone. We trigger those if it's ever off the path and make sure that everyone's safe here for these type of launches, especially with Starship. We saw there on Flight 1, it was a little bit underpowered on that flight termination system. It took a little bit for the vehicle to break up. But I think they have that solved here. I mean, we saw that stage 1 kind of pop. I don't know if that was necessarily, I don't think it was a flight termination system thing, but we know these things can pop pretty quick. So in the case of it drifting off course, we always got that as backup here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So flight termination system, that's one of the last things that they're going to do, like Ryan was saying before we go and send this thing. So I'd say, once again, we're still pending regulatory approval, right? But the confidence is high, let's say, for a launch on Sunday at 7 a.m. Central.
Yes, certainly. I mean, that's kind of the last kind of checklist thing I can think of preparing Starship for launch. So I'm excited to see this get restacked as they're finishing up installing all that, and we get to see the full stack out there on the pad. Makes me super happy to see that always. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, the rocket isn't the only thing that SpaceX is updating down there at Starbase, huh, Ryan? Like they've added they started putting like a mural on the front of front of Starbase, right? That's actually pretty cool. I don't know if you guys have seen that yet. It's pretty awesome if you haven't checked it out.
Yeah, they're starting to. It's basically small plates. They're basically putting on the It's a whole mural on the parking garage. What's funny is if you look at the starships closely, they're Block 1 design. The flaps aren't more forward or anything like that, so it's kind of funny. So I guess whoever designed it SpaceX didn't tell them to update design. It's kind of funny, but I don't know. It's kind of cool, but we're like 20 years away from something, 20, 30 years away from something like that. So, or more.
I mean,
I know.
Pending regulatory approval, am I right? Sorry,
as always.
Let that go. I still think it's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to pop into the support queue here real quick. We had RC Horseman gifting 5. RC, you're the best. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We had Best Bites becoming a Pad Rat member. We had a store message from Joseph saying, great patch to add to the collection. Thanks for the coverage. And hold on, we got a little more fun happening over here. Ethereal Swordsman with $5 saying, so Cody, when can we expect a high power rocketry stream?
Well, if you were around in this past June, there was actually a stream. DOS headed out to the Spaceport America Cup where I was competing. I launched a rocket out there for the Oregon State University AIA Ezra team, where we launched a rocket it was supposed to go to 10,000. Didn't quite get there, but he does those streams in June. So if you guys ever want to see some like what students are doing in this field and kind of getting prepared for getting into the aerospace profession, definitely keep an eye out next year, June, for the Space Pro America Cup stream. Those are always great to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are fun. I've gone to it. But Cody, I don't think I saw you when I was there, but I was there before. Well, I think I was there when you were in high school. That's how long
yes.
I've been doing this.
Yeah. Last year I was a freshman in college, and so I somehow landed the structures lead role and I was out there. So, first year out there, it was really exciting. Sad to see a failure, but we're gonna come back and win the competition. I'm confident.
Them's just fighting words right there. All right. We had Eagle with a $5 super chat and James Yeomans with a £2 tip right there, or $2.59 in dollars, not sterling. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, Ryan, what do you see? What do you see for questions over there? Anything?
Yeah.
Anything over in the questions queue?
Yeah, I'll kind of put it up here. So, I mean, this is something we want to talk about too. Just disappeared off thing. But the claim of the sub 1 centimeter accuracy by Bill Gerstenmaier yesterday, at least it came out that you find that dubious. I mean, it's kind of hard to get that kind of accuracy, but let's just say he misspoke. Let's just say it's half a meter even. That's still more than accurate enough for them to land this thing, even if it was only half a meter. I mean, like, but if it really was half a centimeter, that's insanity. I think that's the best word to describe it. That's sheer insanity, and that was with an engine out. They had an engine explode on the landing burn, and they still got that close. So I don't know. I think that may speak that not only speaks to the control capability of Super Heavy Booster, but also speaks to the insane software capability that SpaceX has. It's just nuts. If it actually was that accurate, which I don't know why they'd lie about that. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's that, I saw this tweet from Jeff Faust, and who does an amazing job over at Space News, by the way, just in case anybody's wondering. I saw that tweet from him, and Bill Gerstenmaier, guys, he's the vice president of flight reliability for SpaceX. And before that, he ran the SLS program. And then before that, he worked on the shuttle program for 30 years. There's nobody better at spaceflight reuse. I've said this once, I'll say it again. That guy is the foremost expert on reusing spacecraft and getting a launch cadence figured out, probably in the country by a long shot. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would, embellish here. If that's true, and they were able to get Super Heavy to sub-centimeter precision. I mean, I was saying on yesterday's countdown to launch that if they can nail sub-meter precision, I think they'll snag a pin. Sub-centimeter precision, they're absolutely going to snag a pin. I mean, Cody, how big do you think those pins are? Like maybe, I don't know, like 15 centimeter across, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. A little bit larger, a little bit smaller, but about that. Not a lot of surface area to land on. I mean, those pins, tiny compared to the rest of the vehicle. And so trying to get something to hover in place as chopsticks are coming in and trying to slot into those tiny little slots, it's going to be a monumental challenge, especially on the guidance, navigation, and control side of things. I mean, such a crazy problem to solve. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know if they got that sub-centimeter percent. That's just I can't believe that. It's such a crazy accurate number to get. But I have no reason to doubt them. So it's just a crazy number to see. So if they truly are able to get that sub-centimeter precision on a catch attempt, that's going to make the whole issue of trying to align these two things much, much easier to do. So, yeah.
I saw somebody say it in chat, just in case you're wondering. People say, what's sub-centimeter precision? What are we talking about here? So let's see. What's one half of a centimeter? That's about it's 50 mil there, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. 50 mil.
That's
my calipers
about 3/4 of an inch.
My calipers are across the room. Can't grab it. So
it's not much.
Yeah.
It's tiny, like real tiny. Like
I feel like a gust of wind could knock it off that. It's crazy to me.
But I mean, when the booster's coming back as it's going to land, it's probably going to be in the range of 300 to 350 tons, because you've got your dry mass is about we think it's about 260, give or take. Let's just say this: the bridge cranes are rated for 180, and it takes 2 bridge cranes to lift it. So I mean, just go with that. So let's say it's 260. And then you're talking about residual propellants. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to have a solid 70 something tons left in there or more. Who knows? So you're above 300, and the chopsticks have to take that weight. Now they can. They did a structural test over last week, and they added 700 tons to it, so double what the landing mass is. So I mean, it'll be fine. But yeah, you're trying to land that vehicle onto those sticks. So their hope is that the landing rails will basically take the compression load at first, so it doesn't just shock load it, basically. And then Yeah, it'll be caught. The sticks will just close around and hit the booster. The booster slides down, hits the landing rails, compresses it, takes the load. Done.
I mean, we want to reduce our
Crazy.
impulse
Sounds
on
so
that,
simple.
so
Sounds so
so oh yep.
Mhm.
We want to reduce our impulse on that, so we want to increase the amount of time it takes for that force to kind of go through. So,
Yeah, I said 50 mil, guys. Sorry, I was thinking in thousandths of an inch, but I realized thinking in thousandths of an inch is still wrong. You know, there's boy math, there's goer math, and then there's streamer math. So
Yeah.
just bear with me on that one,
And
fellas.
there's aircraft
Sorry
mechanic
about that.
math.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry.
Three-quarters of an inch,
Unit
that's
conversions
about right,
on stream is usually a losing battle there, but bear with me there. Thank you. It was 5 millimeter. I'm sorry. That's a little embarrassing, but hey, whatever. It's, that's fine. Anyway, so what do you guys think? You think they're gonna get it? You think they'll land? Ryan, what do you think?
I think they'll do it. Let's see here. If I put a percentage chance on that, we'll go with like 80. Go 80%. The real kicker is does the flight director give the go ahead to do it? That's assuming everything's fine and they don't have an auto abort. But like and this is from last night, by the way. Going up to catch height all the way up to the top tower, which I gotta say surprised me when they ended up doing this a little while back. We thought they were gonna catch like maybe 3/4 of the way to the tower. Nope, it's at right at the top. Yeah, they're gonna do all the way at the top, and they structurally increase the tower up there. But will they do it? I think they can do it. They've proven they can land rockets. This vehicle is much easier to control because rather than Falcon 9, you've got 3 engines running in the center, so you can control roll with those engines. Unlike Falcon 9, which you can't really do that with a single engine, and you'll have incredibly accurate precision when you're at low velocities there. So I think they'll do it. It'll be nuts to see. All of a sudden, 7.5 minutes, 8 minutes after launch, all of a sudden you're going to see a booster just hanging off the tower as they try to safe it, and basically depress the vehicle, boil off everything, and then they'll have to roll their transport stand, which is all the way over at the rocket garden. That's going to have to roll all the way back to the launch site, and then they're going to have to grab it because they can't put it on the launch pad because they don't have any guide pins to do it. So it's going to hang there for a couple hours, several hours, in fact. So that'll be nuts.
Some cool photos will be taken, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, from our field photographers there, right?
A lot of photos.
Anyway, Cody, you think it's gonna land, buddy?
Man, it's so hard to like quantify it. There's so many unknowns in this situation. I mean, this has never been done before. Of course, we've seen booster landings in the past, but trying to hover this thing and not only rotate it but translate it using both like thrusters, the cold gas, or I don't know if they're cold gas necessarily at the top, but you also have your engine gimbal, but using that to translate your booster over side to side. I don't think I've ever seen that before on an orbital class booster. So it's going to be just an insane thing to kind of quantify. I think if they get the go to land, which is a big if, then I think they probably have, I'd say a 60-40. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit more pessimistic, but that's still, I'd say, pretty good odds for the task they're trying to achieve of catching this massive booster on landing. And I mean, I'm a little scared about how the flight director will call this because I feel like they need it pretty perfect conditions to be able to attempt the landing. So like on the last flight, we saw an engine out on landing. So I don't know if the launch director would call it if they have an engine out or not.
Here's
What
the
do you guys
problem
think?
with that. If they have an engine out on the landing burn, there is no abort. That is far too late. They will not be able to abort to the Gulf of Mexico. They will hit either the beach or the wetlands. That's it. If they have some issue with the landing burn, it's not going to matter. Like it's just straight not going to matter. They will not be able to do a soft splashdown. And they use hot gas ullage thrusters. So basically, it's vents at the top of the tanks and you're using ullage basically as your RCS rather than having a separate system for it. Save a little bit of mass. So,
Certainly, yeah. I mean, trying to abort on landing a little too much, a little too late. There, you're kind of committed there at the end. So, yeah.
It's like I was telling people, guys, and feel free to chime in. You if they're going to commit to that point, like it's like what you were saying. You're getting to that commitment point where you're going to try that final landing. Obviously, there's a bunch of gates here, right? There's a bunch of gates that they have to go through. I mean, it's still the flight director or flight landing operations director. We were talking about that yesterday. What do you call that guy? He's a launch director, and he's got to be a flight director now, right? Like, you obviously have the gate for the flight director to say, yes, we're going to do this, right? And then, obviously it's going to go through a bunch of checks all the way down into landing, right? I'm pretty sure, and you guys, once again, chime in, if it gets near, there's a certain point where it's got to commit. It's got to commit to the landing, right? Like what you guys were saying. It's got to commit. And it's either going to be paint on the OLM or it's going to get caught. Like at a certain point, there you can't abort anymore, right, Ryan? That's what you were saying, yeah?
Yeah, it doesn't have the same abort modes as Falcon 9. They light all 13 engines at about 1 kilometer. And with the way they are coming back with it, there really is no option to abort, to just abort it. If they abort before it, then they can do a splashdown. But at that point, there really is no chance. We might see a 70 meter tall booster pile drive the beach, basically.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Oh.
I mean, it would look cool. It looked cool. I mean, here's the other thing
guaranteed,
too.
right?
This was interesting when they first rolled Booster 12 out for its static fire, when we saw the new FTS on the LOX tank. Because that FTS is right at the lateral support beams for the transfer tube, which is right on the LOX tank. So basically, when those flexible shaped charges blow, they're going to destroy the lateral supports and snap the transfer tube, which means you'll instantly mix the LOX and the methane and cause a detonation. I am curious if that is the landing FTS. Like if they're so close and they think they might hit something they don't want to hit, or they're doing a late stage abort or whatever, they may just blow the booster up with that.
It's like, what will cause more damage, the FTS or a booster hit? Like, it's a bit of a toss-up.
A bunch of steel pieces versus one large steel piece.
Right.
What's your thing? I mean,
unless they're targeting the area where a piece of ground and one centralized boom rather than a dispersal of stuff, I think there's a bit of a trade-off there with how they do this landing.
Yeah, I cannot wait to hear that call out. It has to happen before boost back burn shutdown. So basically, by 3:41 into the flight director has to make the call whether or not they go, and then they'll manually transmit a command to the booster to tell it to go. And I hope we hear the call out. We are go for catch attempt. I can't wait to hear that call out, or whatever it's going to be. That's going to be an insane thing to hear. And then maybe on the way down, they say all systems go for catch attempt or something like that. So,
oh man,
I'm going to be cheering when I hear that. That's for sure. That'd be so epic. That'd be so cool. It'd be great.
I don't know about you guys. If we hear those words, Ryan, like what you're saying, I'm going to get some nerd chills.
Right.
There's going to be some nerd chills in the chat, I think. Chat, what say you?
All I would love is that I remember watching that Apollo 11 documentary, and you just hear the comms for like, "Are you go for landing?" I wish SpaceX would do the vocal polls again. Like you go through all the polls and say, "Yep, we are go for catch" at the end or whatnot. That just once, SpaceX, can you do that just once?
That is my favorite part of ULA launches, is the polling. It's just, it gets you hyped. It's like right before launch.
Just every single one, we're go. It just builds up. I always love it.
I like the final check there 30 seconds out, Cody, where they're like, "Go Atlas, go Centaur." You know, that one's cool. That one's
baby,
cool. Let's do this. You know. Anyway, so we got two different hosts here, guys, yesterday. But I'm curious, Ryan and Cody, what do you think about this? And this question was asked yesterday. I got asked this question. I gave my response. So I'm wondering about you guys. Say they do catch this thing. Ryan, what do you do with it when you get it? I want to hear what you have to say, and then Cody, we'll pop over to you. Okay?
Roll out the transport stand, put it on,
Yep.
roll it back to Mega Bay 1, stick it on the processing stand, and get inside those tanks and see what it looks like.
Yep.
Basically, tear out all that shielding, look at the engines. Maybe you roll it back out for cryo or something along the lines, or put some propellant in it. Or you take those engines off and you send them in McGregor and fire them up. See what they look like. However, there is the thing, though, that these are somewhat outdated engines, because we know they're making Raptor 3. So do you even do that? Would that even help in your data? I mean, it might. It definitely could. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go ahead and just throw those over to McGregor, stick them on the tripod stand, and fire them. That.
Yep. So your team take it apart, right?
Yeah, they're not going to refly it. I think if they refly anything, it would be 13 if they catch it, at most. So they can learn that, because especially taking one of these things apart, because they have not, at least as far as we know, they have not built block 2 booster sections yet. They might have them in Star Factory somewhere. I'd be kind of surprised if they didn't, but if you take this thing apart, you can then learn what not to do on block 2 booster. I mean, they already have a lot of stuff they know not to do on block 2 booster, but you can learn even more. So,
Cool. All right. Yeah, Ryan, I'm kind of with you on that one. Cody, what about you? What would you do with this thing? You if you get this 300 to 350 ton booster back, just kind of sitting there. What's on Cody's mind here? Let's see.
Yeah, I think I agree mostly with Ryan. It lands, you bring it back to the Mega Bay, you take out some of the engines, maybe you fire them at McGregor, but that was a good point with Raptor. You have different Raptor versions in there, so you might not be able to get a ton of data. But the thing is, with every flight test, you're learning a little bit more about the vehicle. And so I think it would be very important to look through the vehicle, because you might discover one of those unknown unknowns, those dreaded unknown unknowns that you kind of whittle down over every test flight. And so I think it would be very important for SpaceX to analyze this vehicle to the fullest extent, which does unfortunately mean not reflying it. And I don't think they would static fire it on the pad. I heard that yesterday too. I think there's just too much risk there. I feel like it's a lot safer to try and refire a Raptor at McGregor than filling the entire booster back up. And you might also be getting rid of data. If you're re-chilling down the booster, you're changing the mechanical properties of the metal. You might be changing how that booster kind of looks, or how it was right after landing. And so, yeah, I think they're going to do some metallurgy, take it apart, and learn as much as they can to try and make the next booster they build better, and make sure that V2 can kind of have all the improvements that it can while it's still in development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, guys, that's basically the answer that I had yesterday. They're going to take this thing apart, learn as much as they can, and use what they learned to build other boosters in the future. I mean, that's very much speaks to SpaceX's rapid iteration and how they kind of roll. I mean, it'd be cool to see it reflown, but I think that's going to be down the road. As Ryan was saying, like, I think that's going to be a different version of the booster based off of what they learned from actually getting one back. I mean, it's very clear that there's a vacuum of there's a vacuum of information regarding like booster reuse, because we wouldn't have seen them go and fish those booster parts out from booster 11 if they didn't want to learn something, right?
Yeah, they definitely wanted to get some information out of that booster, maybe like why that one engine didn't work on relight. I mean, just trying to get as much information out of that as possible. So definitely a reason that they invested all that time and money into fishing those parts out of the bottom of the ocean. I mean, that's not an easy task to do.
Right. And we actually saw, and I don't know if they have this on the back end. This might be a little bit of a curveball for Jay. He's probably going to hate me for this. we actually saw from Gary Blair's flyover pictures that some of them found their way. Some of those boosters from Booster 11, some of the engines from Booster 11 found their way to McGregor. What they're gonna do with them, don't know. Don't know.
Do you guys think they're going to refire him?
Dude, I said that they're. I don't know. You're not gonna have a lot of fun with those bent nozzles trying to refire those for reasons. I'd say maybe reuse the turbine machinery and try to put together like one good engine and see if it works. You know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. They sat on the seafloor for what, 3.5 months, and well, as we all know, salt water is not very forgiving for corrosion. Doesn't matter what metal it is. Period. And I don't really know if you can buff those nozzles out. I mean,
No,
I really don't think you can. I mean, that'll buff out, right? Down
buff
there,
out.
yeah.
Get some duct tape.
I mean, you one down there, you got a nozzle without a power head on it too. So I don't know about that one, but yeah. So I think they're just there just to take them apart and look at them. They're not going to fire him. I think if they want to fire a used Raptor, it's going to have to be on a caught booster, like 12, if they catch 12, that is. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree, Ryan. I think it's a little far out to see him fire a motor, but we've seen weirder from SpaceX. I feel like if they disassemble it and they look at it and they see that, I mean, just all the internals, there's a lot of internals that I think would be really hard to inspect on something like this. So it really depends on what they find during that autopsy on those motors. So
because R2, they it's not all sealed up like it is in R3, so that you can pull apart the turbo pumps.
Oh yes,
but but the problem is salt water and Inconel, they do not mix in any way in the slightest. And that's what the turbo machinery is made out of, especially the turbine blades and everything. Seals will be destroyed. There's no way of firing that, not without major. You did have to melt that down and remake it. Honestly, they're not going to fire it.
Nope. Yeah, I think that's more realistic. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. All right. What's the result of that poll with the reaction to go for landing? I think 48% has it. I will scream and cheer like crazy. I don't know if I'll be able to muster words if that thing actually, if we get the go for landing. I'm probably gonna be like, and then to see it actually land, I'll probably just be like, yeah, that's pretty neat, because I will not be able to find the words.
I'm going down there, and I've never seen a rocket launch before. I think if I see that, not seeing a launch before and seeing something like that land, it will just break my brain, because I've had no ramp up of seeing like a Starlink or something like that, and seeing a booster get caught, I wouldn't know what to do. So yeah,
you're like,
and it's your first time seeing a rocket launch, man. You're gonna be spoiled. I'm not sure anything else is gonna compare.
You're gonna see a Falcon 9 and go,
whatever.
That's literally what's gonna happen. You'll see a Falcon
just
9
landing the booster.
I saw the most powerful rocket ever fly and it get caught. This is nothing. That's what you'll do. It's like,
cool. All right. Ryan, I'm seeing a question in there about a WB-57. Do we know if the WB-57 is going to fly on this one?
Yeah, from Robin Steverson here. Talking about NASA spotter planes scheduled for Sunday. There is a placeholder for WB-57. There has been in the past. It can mean it's for Starship. It can.
Yep.
It can also mean it's for something else. NASA schedules a lot of placeholders for a lot of different things.
Yep.
So it can mean one or the other. So we'll just go with that. It could be for Starship. It just doesn't say that it is. So
yeah, okay. In case anybody was wondering, so the WB-57 is an old Martin Canberra bomber that's been heavily modified by Sierra SNC for NASA to do high altitude, not reconnaissance, but high altitude imaging. if you guys have ever watched NSF coverage of a Dragon mission coming back down, like actually we might have one the day that Starship launches, right? You often see footage of the capsule that's from up in the air. These WB-57s have basically a PTZ camera mounted in the nose so they can image stuff coming back through the atmosphere, and it actually falls down below it. They're designed to fly at really high altitudes, and a lot of people confuse them with U2s. They do look kind of the same, but they ain't the same plane. But in the past, for Starship missions, just for some context here, we've seen WB-57s fly and image the ascent. So the reason why we're bringing this up, and the reason why we're telling you, like what Ryan said, it might be nothing, but that all the signs are trending towards seeing a launch, which on Sunday. Which now here's the next question that I have for you guys. Do you think we're going to get this launch license, and when? Cody, what do you think?
Well, I'm heading down there, and I already bought the tickets, so I'm a little, let's say, biased towards them saying that they're going to have the launch license ready. I really hope so. It's just, I'm a bit of a cautious person, and so getting those tickets to go down there for this was a bit against my better judgment. But like, I'm just so unsure. I'm so unsure.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
A lot of the signs are pointing directly to, hey, there's something going on. There's a reason that they're prepping all this stuff, but we just don't know, and that's the hardest part about all this. It's trying to get that certainty. So I'm gonna say yes, they're gonna get that launch license. I think though, I just have this gut feeling like I think they'll get it Monday. I think they won't get it Sunday. They won't get it Sunday. They'll recycle, and then they'll try and go Monday, and they'll get it Monday. That's my Cody's crazy theory there.
What's the basis for that? Just out of curiosity, why do you think Monday?
I actually have no.
Just gut?
I just don't think that the FAA is fully prepared to give that license out. Like they don't. I just think they have to prep a little bit longer, and so I feel like having a launch scrub will kick them into gear and try and get something out the door. It's just suspicion. I have literally, I swear, I have no like insider info on that. It's like just that's what I could imagine my worst case scenario being if I have to leave before then. So,
yeah. Now I just. In case you missed the countdown to launch yesterday, guys, I said Friday at 5 p.m. Ryan, what do you think?
I think it'll be Friday at 5 p.m. If not, they can do it Saturday too. They can do it Saturday. Yep. I mean, the FAA works on Saturday. They can release it on Saturday. I mean, it's not like they don't. And SpaceX won't try for it if they don't have it. I mean, because if they try and they fill the whole thing up and do a wet dress, well, hate to break it to you, well, the pad will be, they won't be able to do it for like another day or two as they have to refill the tank farm. They may be able to do it, but they wouldn't have a lot of margin left depending on how much they actually recover from an attempt. So my guess is they're not going to try unless they actually have that license. But in theory, they can load this thing up and go all the way just before engine ignition without the proper license. But the funny thing is they have one. And this kind of brings up a question from Devin Waldron talking about the original license trajectory. Could they fly on the one that they already have? That's a maybe. I would kind of, because we don't know if the change to Ship 30's heat shield would cause a modification to license, because I doubt SpaceX has asked them, as specifically asked them for it and whatnot like that. Because the FAA came back and said, because we were asked them about it, and they came back and said, well, we don't really know if it would cause a modification or not, because probably they haven't looked at it, or SpaceX hasn't asked about it. So we don't know if they could fly on the current one. They might be able to, then again, they might not be able to. But the closures, not the closures, but the notices plus the timeline they give out, everything says they're going for a catch, which means they need a new license. So I expect it tomorrow or Saturday is what I expect. So
now, Ryan, we were talking about TFRs a little bit earlier. they edited the TFRs and posted them today, right? That's how that went down. Just give us a quick refresher because I got another question here.
They had the TFRs yesterday, and they had a typo in one of the TFRs to the 15th because the TFR was covering like 24 hours. So they accidentally that was a whoops. So they just edited it and reposted it today. That was the one
I've
for
made
the
an
15th.
observation to the TFRs.
Yep.
Now, okay, so the edited one, right?
Mhm.
That goes into the 14th, right?
Yeah, so there's 3 TFRs. There's one for the 13th, the 14th, and one for the 15th. These cover the one for the 13th is about an hour. It starts at 6:45, and if I remember correctly, it ends at around 8:07. The ones for the 14th and the 15th start at around 6:45 Central and end at 9:37 Central. So they usually give a buffer zone around the window on that TFR just so you can make sure the airspace is actually clear and whatnot. But that's their launch window usually for weekends is about an hour, give or take. And then for the weekdays, it's usually like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, usually about 2. So still morning launches, but if they do go right at 7 and it stays as clear as it's supposed to, we might get a jellyfish.
Oh,
a hot staging jellyfish.
That
If they
that
go
would make
right
me
at 7,
feel feelings.
because sunrise on Sunday is 7:26 a.m. I think it's 7:26.
Oh, and hey, dude, even if they don't get it right off the bat, Starship can be recycled real quick. There's like a hold gate right there where it can be recycled, right? So
there's that T minus 40-second hold that they have after they fill everything up, and I think they can hold this thing for like 30 minutes. It's like 15 or 30 minutes. I don't know if it's changed recently, but they have actually a hold time compared to Falcon. So, yeah.
Cody, you might be in for a treat, buddy.
Oh yeah, I mean,
You might be in
I've
for
been
a
looking
treat.
at that sunset time. And I was like,
Jellyfish
ooh,
with a hot stage.
If this
and a
is
catch.
my first launch I ever get to see, I get to see a landing, a tower catch, nonetheless, a Starship launch, and a jellyfish. I don't know if I can attend a single like Starlink. I might not be able to. I might just
launches are going to be
my arms on
ruined
those.
for you.
They're going to be ruined.
They're going to be
That is
permanently.
if it all happens then. So yeah, I mean, even if it just launches, I want to hear the ripping of the atmosphere there. I've never heard that. And I really want to hear that and I want to feel that. So
the tearing. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yep. So what I was saying, and Ryan, this is the reason why I asked you about the TFRs, is because Cody said it might go on Monday or, the 14th or, even the 15th, which is Tuesday. There's a possibility that, that might happen. That's why I asked that. Because so it might, might be Sunday, might be Monday. I mean, Monday, I think, is a federal holiday in the U.S., if I'm remembering right. So
Columbus Day, I think.
Yeah. So it could be Monday or Tuesday. Who knows?
Although I will say, I believe on the WB57 schedule, there's no WB57 scheduled for Monday, but there is for the rest of the week. I'm pretty sure that it's just Sunday and then the rest of the week.
There's an imagery placeholder for 2 straight weeks. Now, here's the other part about that though: is Crew 8 is supposed to come back Sunday, Monday, Sunday. That imagery placeholder could be for Crew 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because they use hard to tell. They use it for crew returns. So
yeah, certainly.
What does NASA want to cover more? The Starship launch or the WB-57? Or Crew 8?
I'm just gonna go out right and say it. Why not both?
They should have 2 of them. Don't they have 3?
What time's Crew 8 coming back down, man?
Fly, yeah. As soon as they cover Starship, go.
Just fly over there.
What time is coming down? I'd have to look.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the fuel capacity on that thing? Can you get out there? Would you have to probably stop back at Houston and refuel? Or does it even have
loiter at high altitudes? That's what it's designed to do.
Current undocking is 3:05 a.m. Eastern Sunday. on Sunday if for
Oh.
Crew 8. That's the current
It's Crew,
undocking time.
then Crew 8 first, then Starship. Then
Wow.
I don't know how
I
quickly
mean,
it re-enters.
actually,
after
that's
that. I don't
undocking, right?
remember.
So
yeah, I don't remember when how quickly it re-enters after that. That's a not me question. Put it that way.
yeah, I got you. Yeah, not your department.
No, that'd be more an Alex question.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Do we know if the reentry path is going to be able to be seen from Starbase? That might be some good photo opportunities there.
I don't think they've picked
No.
a splashdown point yet. Because I think they're waiting to see what the weather looks like after a hurricane just went through the whole region. So unless there's not splashing down at Florida again. I don't remember off the top of my head. So yeah. But yeah, Crew 8 Crew 8 undocking at 3:05 Eastern or 2:05 a.m. Central, while we're all going to be sitting and waiting for this thing to go in the morning. So that'll be fun.
Sunday's gonna be a little crazy.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a little crazy. Anyway, okay, so there's a super chat here from James Humans again. So how loud how loud do you think the sonic boom will be? I mean, it's gonna be pretty loud. I mean, I don't know if it kind of is going to be louder than what we've seen on past missions, right? Like, obviously, you're not going to see one on a Starship mission, right? But is that going to be like louder compared to a Falcon 9? Cody, what do you think?
I mean, larger surface area. I feel like it's going to create a larger shock cone, and you're going to get a louder sonic boom. I don't know the full relationship there, but just like from my basic understanding, I feel like that would have to increase at least the sound of that. Having a big booster that has very, very blunt edges on it, not like a nose cone or anything, it's going to create a very loud sonic boom.
I mean, we saw Cody, you saw that cone from the Flight 4 landing from the buoy cam. That was is that the biggest cone ever made? That's up there.
That certainly is
bigger than that one.
It's going to be
the diameter on that thing was
because the booster is going to be heading down towards the launch site. If they're going for, let's just say, assuming they're going for a catch, the booster will heading down towards the launch site. It'll create a sonic boom because it'll be going supersonic. But as soon as it starts slowing down and everything, that shockwave will then go and just hit the launch site and bounce off the launch site because it'll just keep traveling down ahead of the vehicle. It's going to be kind of nuts. That I'm just kind of curious at how loud this thing's going to be as a whole. And then you'll probably get a loud thump when when the 13 engines reignite as well. Because you can hear it when Falcon 9's engines reignite. That's just a couple Merlins. We're talking 13 Raptors here, which are a little bit more powerful. Yeah.
I mean, let's just do some rough napkin math here. Here I go with the math again. I don't know why I do this to myself, but Merlins make what 900 kilonewtons and change, a little bit more than that, a little bit less than that. We don't know exactly where that is. They with Falcon 9 for like a kind of RTLS, right? You see one engine and then two outside engines fire and then they shut off. So at peak thrust during a hover slam with Falcon 9, you're looking at what 2.7 meganewtons of thrust. That's pretty much what one Raptor makes. It's a little more than what one Raptor makes out of the gate, let alone 13 of them. So yeah, it's probably going to be loud.
Well, R2 is more around 2.3, 2.4 is where R2's at.
Yeah, it's a little 3 Merlins would be a little bit over, right? Yeah, it's 2.4 for a Raptor. That's the 13 of those. Yeah, might rumble a little bit. Anyway, there is another good question that I saw in the support queue from Flawed Perspective. Assuming the catch works, what do you guys think IFT 6 will look like? Ryan, go.
Assuming they fly ship 30, say we'll go like this. Say 30 gets through reentry perfect. The new ablative heat shield, everything works the way is intended, and it works a lot better. Well, then flying 31 becomes less important. And they may not even fly it. which means they may just go to ship 33. Now, here comes the thing on that: is ship 33 is not going to be ready for flight till Q2 of next year. That's straight up. It hasn't even cryoed yet. They're still finishing it up. Which pushes another flight probably 6 months. And while a lot of people are going to be like, oh, but that's too long, you have to remember what's the most efficient way for SpaceX to get more data and fly more. Well, to me, that's to have all your shipbuilding crew working on working on Block 2 a ship. So rather than spending 12,000 man hours to replace the heat shield on 31, which they haven't really even started detailing yet. So if it is ship 33 that ends up flying it, then I could see it. They're going straight to orbit. If it's 31, then then maybe they try some of those small tests in space and then go for another suborbital track reentry and try to catch 13, assuming they run into no issues in this flight. So I think that's what.
So you're thinking 6 is going to be an orbital attempt with Starship and another catch, yeah? Did I get that right?
If they fly 33, then yeah. I don't think they'd go to orbit with 31. I don't think a Block 1's going to go to orbit. There's no reason to do it. So
cool. Cody, what say you? You think that's right? Agree, disagree? Where are we at?
It's very interesting because for HLS, they need to up their cadence. They need to get more tests in. And so it's going to be very interesting to see if they choose to do testing on 31, right? Yes, the one that has not had its heat shield placed yet. So I do agree with that assessment of putting in all the work to actually have like a full heat shield replaced is a lot of man hours to put in if you can't learn a ton more. And so I think it's really going to depend on what they're able to learn from this launch will kind of drive how they learn from next launch. And if that is going to be their next block, or if that's going to be a reflight kind of with the same profile, and just kind of squeeze as much information out as they can of Block 1 before they move on to Block 2. But yeah, I don't think they're going to go full orbital with Block 1 quite yet. I think they'll probably hold off until Block 2. But I'm curious to see if they'd make any changes to the next ship that flies to kind of move along the HLS testing route.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about yesterday, Cody. I think that's a very important thing to kind of reiterate. Also, multipass. I saw Crispy say it in chat. You got a multipass. No, it's a multipass anyway. We're looking. You're right. HLS is in the critical pathway, and NASA is right now apart from internal payloads. So Starlinks for Starship in the future, right? Like Starlink V2. NASA's the biggest customer for Starship that we know about. So them getting those booster catches, and this is I don't know about you guys. This is the reason why I think they're going for the catch right away instead of like trying to do other things. You have a huge cadence to figure out by 2026, 2027. That's just around the corner on your systems engineering timelines here, right? That is just around the corner. And we know from SpaceX Actual, like they said, I don't know, let's say like 16 refueling flights. That's a really, really high cadence for the next 2 years. So, I mean, Cody, I think you're bang on. We got to get going. They got to get going sooner rather than later.
I mean, yeah, they got a deadline. I really do think that the main driving force right now for Starship's entire testing program is HLS. I do understand that. I mean, they want to get this program up and running, but that is their main customer. NASA is their main customer with this vehicle. So trying to get this up and running with all those test objectives, I think, is a massive push for this test program.
So I have something to pose to you guys, because I've been thinking about this a lot lately with where they're at in terms of Artemis and HLS. So they currently have Ship 31 and Ship 33 built. That's what they've got. All right. They've got boosters 13, 14, and they just finished stacking 15, but they don't have a ship for 15. And right now it takes them about a year to go from stacking to getting a vehicle ready for flight. It takes about a year right now. if we go by timelines, this is assuming they don't break anything during any of their catch attempts. Okay, this is assuming they don't break anything. Say 31 and 13 go in maybe January, then 33 and 14. 33 and 14 basically go in, I would say, May, June. And then you got 34, which they just started stacking, and 15, which just finished stacking, which may be ready end of summer. At that point, when you get to that point, they haven't started building Booster 16 yet, and they haven't even, all they have is a nose cone, as far as I know, for Ship 35. They're in a really, really bad production bottleneck right now. And as of right now, they're not going to be recovering ships. They're not. 33 and 34 do not have recovery hardware for ships. They physically can't catch them at this point. They wanted to do the propellant transfer next year. That's not happening. Not in this case. Not a shot. No. And then you go, oh, well, they're about to bring a second pad online. Yeah, well, they need booster block 2 for that. Because based off everything we can see with the design, Block 1 booster is in no way or shape or form compatible with this new pad. Which means you need to build a booster. And as I just said, it takes about a year to stack a booster and get it flight worthy. Well, even if Pad B is online at the end of summer next year, they don't have a booster to go on it. They need to build more bays. They need to get their Roberts Road facility up and running, because right now, and I think you said this on yesterday's Countdown to Launch, you don't think HLS is going to be a time up. I'm sorry, but it is. It is going to be. They are far behind in what their timeline they wanted to be at. You may be recovering boosters, but you're not recovering ships, and your production rate isn't high enough. It's not close. Next year, we're looking at maybe 4 launches of Starship. That's it. That's all we're getting next year based off their production and testing cadence. The year after that, maybe 6 or 7 or 8. I know I'm being negative, as I always am, but I'm just looking at this kind of realistically. I mean, that's where they're at with their production and their testing. They're not that far along. Unless Star Factory really, really ramps up, they've got a problem. You know?
I know. I mean, based off of what we've seen, I can get that. But I mean, okay, all right. This isn't Flame Trench, but we're gonna.
Oh no, EJ!
Hit the bell, Jay. Hit the bell. Let's go. Yeah, baby.
There we go.
I mean, we can't see inside the Star Factory. I mean, okay, so Ryan, I'm not gonna be too spicy. We're not gonna be too spicy here. So I got a question. How do you know they're not ramping up inside of the Star Factory? Like, honestly, it's not rhetorical. Like, is there evidence that we've seen that they're not in that big, huge building that they're building, that they're not trying to ramp?
I will say it. Okay, with the Star Factory itself, we can't tell, but with the bays, we can. I'll put it that way. Because I mean, they finished stacking. What was it? They finished stacking Booster 15 on September 24th. So what? That's 2 weeks ago at this point, and they haven't rolled out. They haven't started 16 yet. If they really want to get this going, they need to start as soon as they finish the vehicle stacking. They got to start the next one, and they're not at that point yet. And it takes a month and a half to stack a booster. The quickest they've ever done it is 6 weeks. Unless they can try to get that up, they can probably get that down to a month. But there's still then, after you assemble it, there's like 3 months of work before they can cryo it. Because you got to install the raceway, you got to install the press lines, you got to hook in the transfer tube, as well as you just literally got to hook everything up and test it all and then roll it out. I mean, Booster 14 finished stacking on April 26th, and they just cryoed it. They just cryoed it this month, 6 months later.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, I always see, guys. This is why I wanted to show this. And Cody, I'll let you chime in here in a second. I just wanted to explain this. Like Ryan isn't wrong by saying look at the hardware. Now, personally, I mean, there's hardware that we can't see. There's obviously what's inside a Star Factory, right? But talk is cheap. talk is cheap in the space flight industry. Talk is cheap in the aerospace industry. You know, we've heard plenty of people say, "Oh, we're going to do rapid reuse. We're going to do a high launch cadence and then launch like maybe once, right? Twice a year, even maybe get it up to like, like what we've seen with Rocket Lab, get it up to like 30 launches. This is a hard business, right? So I don't think Ryan's wrong in kind of assuming that it's going to take some time to ramp. Now, Ryan, here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
Think it's reasonable to think that SpaceX doesn't. Do you think it's reasonable to think that SpaceX knows that they need to ramp, and that could be what they're doing inside of Star Factory?
SpaceX knows they need to ramp.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is right now they're at a point and it's like, all right, well, we know this pad design doesn't work at pad A, and we know we're making a new ship and we're making a new version of booster. Which those are basically going to be your operational vehicles at this point. Like your Block 2 ship and booster, that's where you're going to start your Starlink missions. That's where you're going to start your tanker flights. That's where you're going to start basically everything. They needed to get to that point, and now they're there. It's just once they build this pad B at Starbase, they then have to build it at the Cape, and then they have to build the Star Factory and the bays at the Cape, and they haven't started clearing that land yet. That takes a while to build a whole factory and to tool it out. That takes like 2 years. Like,
I don't think chat's liking your realism here.
I mean,
I don't think they like it. But I mean, he's not wrong.
Here's
But
the thing.
also,
I'm not saying SpaceX can't do it. I'm just saying that's where they are in the program. At some point or another, out of nowhere, you're going to have 2 fully functional Star Factories. You're going to have 2 pads at Boca, at least 2 pads at the Cape, with maybe another 6 at 49. Who even knows at that point? And all of a sudden, you're going to get so many launches. They just have to get there, and they're not there yet.
yeah,
It's going to take. They are trying to build the most powerful rocket ever and launch it at a cadence no one has ever dreamed of. I'm not trying to say that they can't do it. I'm just saying it's going to take a while. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm being a little negative, but that's basically what it is.
Hey, dude, like that's what I mean, man. You space programs don't run on hopes and dreams. They're fueled by it, but they don't run completely on it, right? So now, Cody, this is the question that I want to ask for you.
Okay.
You got the nerd card. We gave you a nerd card. So do you think it's possible, given the amount of obviously boosters, stainless steel pressure vessels that they need to make, downcomers, the new pad, all the propulsion that they've been ramping up, do you think it's possible for them to scale to realistically to like a 12 to 15 launch a year launch cadence in the next year or two? Do you think it's possible? What's our long lead here in this systems engineering here? What do you think we're going to need the most of? What's the production bottleneck?
It's really hard to say. I'm thinking there's a less likelihood that'll happen in 1 to 2 years, but I think it will ramp up pretty quick. I think that we're going to see this kind of slower development, but like that, it's going to ramp up pretty quick. I think it's going to be a sort of exponential thing where they're going to have the ability to ramp up all that production once they identify that one bottleneck, once they get through that one issue and they build the facilities that they need to start making more rockets, right? They just don't have the production stuff yet, I don't think, to get that scale. And so it's very hard to kind of predict what they're going to do on the actual manufacturing side, right? I feel like they could definitely ramp that stuff up pretty quick. But it's like, how soon are they going to be ready? And for that, I don't know. And I just don't, I can't see it being that quick. I think we'll see quite a few launches this next year and the year after.
Yep.
I just don't know if it's going to be quite that quantity. So yeah, it's looking a little weird for HLS, but yeah, I think I'm a little bit more hopeful than I think the current argument here. I think they'll be a little bit faster. But I don't think they're gonna. I'm sorry. What I'm saying is, I'm in the middle of you two. I'm like think that it won't ramp up super quick, but it'll take a little bit. So.
I mean, if you look at other companies trying to ramp, you look at ULA. ULA, look at how many launches they've had over the last couple of years as they kind of move, phase out Atlas, right? And move into Vulcan operations. The launch cadence has gone, but that's the calm before the storm, right? So I guess kind of like what I'm thinking that this might be the calm before the storm. We don't really know. I don't know, guys. I think, as far as we're concerned, the Star Factory is one big, kind of mystery box, right? We don't know what's going on in there. I mean, I can see, Ryan, I can see where you're coming from. I definitely see where you're coming from. Like, the hardware speaks volumes. You're not wrong. You are 100% right on that, despite what chat doesn't want to hear. But also, until we see some hardware, I don't know. But it's possible that it could be done. Possible. Anyway, Ryan, do you have something to show us on your desk there?
I might.
Hold on.
I might. Here you go. Here you go. Flight 5 patch.
Oh, yeah.
Put it right up. There you go. Flight 5 patch, everyone. Yay. It's really, really
Look
cool.
at that.
Pauline did an amazing job. Store team always does an amazing job with our stuff. I really, really hope that patch comes to life in real life. Please do. Because it looks so amazing, and I want the prophecy to come true. But
yep.
Yeah, I can't wait.
The prophecy.
The prophecy.
I love it. Oh,
And
I'm here for it, man. That's awesome.
In front of the stack that might do it, wearing the patch.
There you go.
There you go. But
Look at
yeah,
that nerd.
and our thrust collection. I got the Raptor shirt on right now, and you can also get the Merlin, the BE4, and the RS-25. And yeah, the store team always does a heck of a job making stuff, and I can't wait to see what else Pauline and everyone has in store for us for upcoming flights, like the first ever orbital ship, or for that matter, the first ever crewed ship. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I can't wait.
Now, guys, I'm not usually one for merch plugs if you know me from Twitch, but all these patches are only here for a limited time. So I asked yesterday, I'll ask again. Who has the whole set? Who has it?
I do. I don't have
the whole set.
I'd have to go grab them all, but I have the whole set. Yep.
They have it. We only have a limited number of those things, so
it's like an infinity.
You want to collect the whole set? Yeah, exactly.
I got 5, although now there's going to be 6. So I mean, it'll actually be the Infinity Gauntlet during Flight 6. It's just, after that, then it becomes weird because then you get 7. Yeah.
You need like a Velcro glove. Just
yeah, right. There you go.
It's like the college football players have all the stars on their helmet, and eventually you run out of space. You're like, man, that guy's a really good player. Anyway, do we have a new tweet? SpaceX actually tweeted something that basically right before we were starting here. The patch doesn't have holes in it, Kevin says.
Yeah. The patch is green, so you can see it keyed. You can see the green in the patch. It doesn't have holes in it. It just has green on it. Just if anyone was wondering.
I look at it.
Forgot
I'm like,
about that.
The chroma.
It's like, oh right, I have a green screen. Duh. But
so whenever you do that, it's just trick from the industry, right? So I'll use my multi-pass here as an example. Whenever you do that, you want to mess something with chroma, tilt it down. Tilt it down like that.
Oh, I don't think it's
working. See, it changed it. It made it better. Okay, not much of an improvement for his chroma, but hey, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We're not going off the rails here because I'm here, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh, geez. Okay, so can we quickly hit the support? Ryan, can you jet through that support queue for me here? I got to put my multi-pass away.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Yeah, RC Horseman, thank you for 5 Red Team memberships here, as always. One of our regulars. Joseph with a store message. Great patch. Add to the collection. Thanks for your coverage. Thank you. It's here. Ethereal Swordsman with a $5 super chat asking Cody a question here. So, Cody, when can we expect high-powered rocketry streams? And I think I saw your own YouTube channel on it.
Yeah, I did have a video recapping all of what happened during spaceport for the Oregon State University team. It's a bit of a video edited, so yeah, I got that up. I think in the members Discord, I posted a link somewhere in there. So yeah, but we'll see that during June. I think I touched on it a little bit during the start of the stream, but yeah, watch out for June for some high power rocketry stuff.
And then we got Eagle with a $5 super chat. We need a poll: EJ for launch host or Lon on launch day?
I don't know if I can go toe to toe with Lon, guys.
I don't know. Lon's pretty
he's
good.
really good at what he does.
Lon's really good at what he does. I don't know. No offense, EJ, but Lon's really
No, none taken, man. The thing's gonna go to launch, and I'm gonna be like, Lon's like sit there and collect. He's like, oh, and it descends into the sky, into the morning air, and I'm just sitting there going, oh my god, it's flying. Oh,
There it goes. Up into the
It'd be very hard to keep composure for those type of launches. I respect it.
Right.
You got Ironclad gifted 5 Red Team memberships. Thank you. Astro95 Media with a $10 super chat. Got my remote camera housing finished up over the weekend. Hope to see the NSF team out there for setup. Let's freaking go. Yeah. I mean, we got. I think we have Max out there. We got Jack. There's a lot. I think we got D out there too. There's a lot of people out there for NSF taking pictures. So, I mean, yeah, go say hi. They'll always say hi back, except for maybe Max. I don't know. No, I'm kidding. But
are you though?
I don't
know. He won't. I swear. Or will he?
Tom, a store message: collection complete. Looking forward to Flight 5. Thank you in advance for the great coverage. Thank you. Revhead gifted 5 Red Team memberships. Thank you. Eagle with another 5 gifted Red Team memberships. Sean Playstrom, I don't know how to pronounce it, but $5 super chat. Their landing software is so good, makes me want to order Windows today.
Sorry, my Twitch chat is leaking into the stream.
Okay, there
don't worry about that.
And then 2 store messages from Alan. 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. 1/5 inch is 2 inches equals 0.5 centimeters. So there you go. That's for you, EJ. I think that's your math. There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Streamer math.
Yep. Streamer
Telling
math.
you, it's a thing.
Dean Cow, thank you for having a Capcom member. Flawed perspective, assuming with $2 super chat, assuming catch works, what will IFT6 look like? We kind of covered that a little bit earlier. They may fly 31, they may not. We'll kind of look at that. James Yeomans with a $5 super chat. How loud do you think the booster sonic boom will be? Kind of covered that as well. I mean, Cody will experience it more than us because I like to be there. But I can't wait to hear that on stream. So, yeah. So, Amy, store message. Hi from Ollie and Steve in Leeds, UK. Uh-oh. Don't let Chris B know. Don't let Chris B know.
Why? What's wrong with Leeds?
I don't know. Is there anything wrong with Leeds?
I don't know.
You tell me.
Saturn Man with a $5 super chat. Will we see Flight 6 before New Year if Flight 5 is successful? Maybe. We'll call it a maybe. Yeah, we'll call it a maybe. X-Org FX guy with a $10 super chat. Do any of the current ships have catch pins similar to the boosters? No. And as far as we know, we don't know when the next ship that will actually have the ship that will actually get them. I'm assuming it's a Block 2 ship. It could be 35, could be 36, could be 42, could be 52. Who even knows at this point? I mean, I don't know. What do you think, DJ? Cody?
Who needs catch pins? Just land it on the fins. No?
I think booster can land on the grid fins, but I don't think ship can land on the flaps.
No.
Yeah, maybe not.
No.
Maybe not.
No, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think it'll snag. I mean, I said it'll snag the grid fins once, right, Ryan? But, if they land a starship and it snags the control surface, that will definitely be another snag the control surface once scenario.
I'm
when
still
I'm laying down.
really curious at how they're going to catch a ship, because
Right.
with the plan to slap the booster, basically, can't really do that with ship unless you want to destroy part of the heat shield, and then it's not very reusable at that point. We'll find out, won't we?
I was thinking.
It might.
I mean,
go ahead, Cody.
I just don't. I can't see them getting that down super early on in the program. I think that's going to take a lot of flights to get perfect. I really do think they're going to go back to maybe some short little landing legs and just land it next to the pad. I really can't see them landing Starship too many times early on the tower. But don't bet against SpaceX. So
right.
Yeah. Then Rib I think it is, $10 super chat. After the cash, do you think they will set it down in the OLM or on the SPNTs with a booster transport stand, basically, and keep safe the boosters? They'll probably just depress it. I mean, there's two dump valves at the bottom of the thrust buck. They can basically just open those and dump the locks out, whatever's left, and then boil off the methane and basically do that. So, because they can't put it back on the OLM because they don't have any stabilizer pins on there. Charty with a store message. Good luck with the preps for the upcoming launch live stream, guys. NSF forever. Thank you. CS with a store message. Number 5, collect the whole set. Anyone want to sell me an extra Flight 3 patch? Anyone got any extra? Well, I don't have any extra. I don't know if anyone has any, but Frank with a store message. Complete set. Thomas with a store message. Love thee. See you Sunday. And yeah, we're somewhat caught up here on support, but yeah. Do we have anything else we want to talk about, EJ?
I think we have a tweet. I was telling about this before we jumped into the support queue. My support queue is acting up right now. So Ryan, thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. I'm a great host, right? I still think Jack's better, but
Jack's an amazing host. So,
he's really good at what he does.
I'll never be able to match Jack. It's kind of hard to match him. Yeah,
that's a legend. Anyway, so we do have a tweet that was basically right when we were going to start here. SpaceX did tweet regarding the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality here. So I'll just read right off here. So the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality conducted a technical review of Starship's water-cooled flame deflector, which uses potable drinking water, and determined that its use does not pose risk to the environment, as we have detailed at great length here. That's that extremely long post about the deluge system. It's a good read, a little spicy, but a good read. Okay, so the tweet further says, we have expressed permission from the TCQ to run the system now under the conditions of the consent order and a closeout letter from the EPA on its administrative orders. So, that sounds, I don't say that's a guarantee of a launch here, but that's definitely a step in the right direction.
You know what's funny?
Right?
What's funny, EJ, is
the
comment period for the administrative order for this ended on October 1st. And you can actually go and see the paperwork and everything, because Save Our GV literally filed their complaint and their comment, I should say, comment. They filed it on October 1st, literally the last day. It's like, okay. All right. And then once that closed, they then took about a week to finish off the paperwork and everything. And then the administrative order got signed on October 7th, which then went into effect at midnight on October 8th. Guess what they did at midnight on October 8th? That's what SpaceX did. I don't know. It's right on the screen right now. That's what they did. They fired the deluge. Literally right as they got the administrative order to do it. So they have a 300-day window now to get the correct permit, which, as far as I remember, they started that process back in July. So probably think it's a couple more months till they finish it, if I remember correctly. But they've already started the process. So they just got to get the permit, and then they'll be good to go. But they are allowed to use it for 300 days based off that administrative order and go ahead. So that's where they're at with the deluge. And they've also done some more work on the high pressure system, so it kind of doubles as a test for that as well. So, yeah.
Like I said, I think this is a step in the right direction. I actually thank you for that timeline breakdown. That's actually, I mean, it's good detective work there. Nothing's a coincidence, right? Like, definitely like, okay, we got the green lights. Send it.
Send it. Go.
just send it. That's cool. So once again, guys, this doesn't, and I can't stress this enough. We still. This is a step in the right direction, but we still need that launch license from the FAA. So we're, our favorite three-word phrase here, pending regulatory approval. This is definitely a step in the right direction, though.
Yeah, it has me wondering whether or not this was the holdup or whatever else was. I hope we're told what the holdup was or why they originally said November to begin with. But who knows if we'll be told that.
Yeah, I really do think once this whole thing blows over and we get our launch, that afterwards there will be something that comes out of this. I'm pretty sure that we'll probably see.
They put the flag on the second tower. It's fun.
Yeah, baby.
America.
I like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, you can't keep it on the
Pretty
first
cool.
one. I wonder if they'll keep that out there for launch.
Yeah, I mean, it might get a little tattered up if they kept that on the pad during launch.
Yeah,
just a little bit. Okay, so actually, you know what, Ryan? I wanted to ask you one last thing. If we can go just a little bit further, I'm kind of rifling through. I'm like, did we get to everything? So we kind of talked about it a little bit. All right, Ryan, let's hear the realist answer. When do you think that second pad with that flag on it is going to get done? When do you think they're going to finish that? I'm curious now. I want your opinion.
Fully operational, as in they could, if they had a booster, they could put on it and fly it. I'd say Q3 next year, maybe at the earliest. Based off what we're seeing with this new pad, the sections we've seen come in with it, the amount of welding is kind of nuts. That they're going to have to do with this. I would give it at least 6 months until that pad's even ready to go to the launch pad itself. And then you have to hook it all in and test it all. The pad is completely different. It is no longer an OLM ring. It is a large, almost like a cube, basically. They have a small box on the bottom, and then they have a larger box that goes on top of that, which will include all the hold down arms. And that is what's called the launch mount surface pancake, basically, which is the deluge plate for pad A, just kind of put on the top of the launch mount, is what it's basically. So it's all water cooled and everything. It's going to take a long time to put that thing together. It is ridiculously beefy. And they still have to put the commodities lines in. They still have to put in the drawworks. They still have to assemble the chopsticks. They still have to finish assembling the QD arm, put it on the tower, hook it all in. There's a lot to do. They're still a ways away. Maybe August next year. I could see it being operational.
Yeah. Cody, what about you, buddy?
I'd have to agree. I mean, I know Ryan's gonna know a little bit more about the ins and outs of the welding here, and it's probably gonna take a while. I mean, if there was already a substantial amount of work done to the actual launch mount, then I might say earlier, but I there's a lot of work that needs to be done on that pad before they can fly anything off of it. It's gonna be a little bit.
I'm gonna be the spicy one here. I'm gonna say end of the year. I'm gonna say end of the year.
That's okay. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Have you seen the pictures of that, EJ?
Oh yeah. Oh no, I have.
I'm about to say, not even all the parts have arrived yet. Okay.
Dude, never bet against SpaceX, man. That's what I've learned. I think it's going to be the end of the year. Now, hear me out. Like, first of all, I'm pretty sure Gwen said in a I think it was a appropriations committee for Texas that they plan to get it done by the end of the year. But like I said, it's like we were talking about before. Talk is a little cheap, right?
I mean, yeah,
Talk
it's
is a little
like
cheap,
we,
right?
we know from the timelines that SpaceX always has that if they plan to have something happen very soon, it likely won't happen at that time, but they'll get for a lot further along than if they said the further
It
time.
was Crew 9.
I think we're going to see a ramp for the pad just because the risk of this flight potentially grenading your pad, well, quite actually grenading your pad. I think they want to get that pad operational a lot quicker, a lot sooner rather than later. And if you guys cast your mind back to 2016 when SpaceX had a little bit of an observation on their pad, they had a timeline on pad 40 at the Cape. They had just gotten the lease for 39A a couple years ago and were refitting that pad for Falcon, right? And then they ended up switching and scaling and getting that pad done. And we ended up seeing a launch for it in 2017, right? And like less than a year later. So it's very clear that they can ramp. And I don't know. Starship pads aren't Falcon 9 pads, right? But also, yeah, I'm going to be the spicy one here and I'm going to say the
they are just starting to dig that flame trench. There's the other part of that.
Yep.
They haven't laid any pipe work, no deluge pipe, no cryo pipes to the flame trench yet. They do have all the piping installed in the tower. They did that beforehand. We haven't even seen the flame diverter show up yet. We didn't even know what it looks like because there's no parts for it yet. I mean, you'll see large steel sandwich pieces most likely show up on the cameras around her, but we've seen nothing. They're a ways away. I think it was the Crew 9 stream they had said early next year. I was like, okay. It's just kind of like, yeah, that's in your dreams, SpaceX. Depends on how many people they have working on the welding will determine how quickly they get that mount done in time. How quickly they get that mount done. Because
it's going to take a lot of stick welding to get that thing.
It's got a
done.
lot.
It's like 2-inch thick steel.
Yeah,
that's 50 millimeter, not 5. I can do the math right this time. I swear. That's some thick steel. But also, yeah, totally get it. Anyway, Cody, I think your time with us has ended, yeah?
Yeah, I got to head out for some lectures, continue my journey to actually get an engineering degree. I can't stay here the entire time. I would love to, but fortunately I can't. So I'll be heading out here. So thank you, everyone, for having me. It's been, as always, great to be here. So I can't wait to return in the future.
Do you think if we went to your professor and said, "Hey, you're doing countdown to launch for NASA spaceflight," do you think you could get extra credit that way? You think that's a viable path? Maybe we could get you to stay longer.
It's a statistics class, so if we brought up those spreadsheets with all like the landing information, I think we might be able to get all that out. We might be able to get extra credit. Get the landing statistics there. So
just saying, it's viable strategy, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, seriously, don't be late for class.
No, I won't. I won't.
Don't do that.
All right. Thank you guys for having me. See ya.
All right, buddy. Thanks for coming on. It's good having you here. So, Ryan, it's just you and me, buddy.
Yeah.
The optimist and the realist.
That's pretty good.
No, it's fine. It's great. It's great.
Oh, but overall, it's always fun to talk about the future and everything.
What are you talking about?
The Starship program and everything.
Are you really sure it's just you two?
See, nobody in the back channel said you were popping in just yet. I don't know. You got to tell me these things. I'm not psychic unless you think you can read my mind, in which case I wouldn't do that.
That's real weird if Alex can.
I wouldn't do that. That's probably not a good thing. But swapping in for Cody, we have Alex, the resident expert on spreadsheets, the Sultan of spreadsheets,
Sultan,
the King of Ruds, the Colossus of Qs.
Man, because we kind of knew that Cody had that sort of out there. But yeah, I just tagged along here with you guys. What's up? I see that there's a U.S. flag now on the second launch tower.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
what's up with that? Like, is that recent? Have they
I'm gonna
done
guess
that?
it's
think that-
recent.
I
It
think they
wasn't
just did
there a
that.
couple days ago, as far as I know, at
Huh.
least. I don't know. Maybe they're all gung ho. Launch. Let's go. I don't know.
America.
Yeah.
I don't know what to, I
I
don't know
mean,
what to
that'll
do
be
with my
for
hands.
all the launch visuals and everything. Who knows?
This flag
I
is
just
dangerous and
want-
obstructive, but I do like rocket launches.
I want cameras from the top of the Pad B tower for launch. That's all I want. Yep. Like
yeah, yeah.
return cameras, because they have cameras on the sticks, on the chopsticks. So they're basically cameras that are looking right where the ship pins are. So that's where they usually pick up the booster and pick up the ship for lifting. So it's going to be really, really cool if they show those cameras. You'll literally watch as the booster is coming. Is just this massive metal piece is just coming down, and all of a sudden you'll see the pin go on, and it just slide down. I hope they show us that view, or at least a pip of it, please. Like,
I'm here for it. To be honest, I don't disagree with you there. I think I'm with you. I'm with you. Anyway, Alex, I actually had a funny question for you, if you don't mind. I'm actually kind of happy you popped in. I have an EJ Wild theory, boys. If you guys want to hear it, and once again, I might make a fool of myself with this question, but I kind of do that anyway, so it's fine. It's fine. Nothing wrong here, right?
Before you
So,
go ahead, I should probably
what's up?
handle one question that I'm seeing in chat. People are saying the camera is not working. That is not a live shot. That is an actual photo. I'm not on camera right now, just so you know.
Or is he?
Yeah, the camera is right now pending regulatory approval. But anyways, I continue, EJ. I just wanted to handle that question that a few people have already talked about in chat.
Dude, I wasn't expecting that. That's pretty funny.
Like
Okay.
everything you do now, when you go, oh, I don't know if this is going to happen or not. You just have to end it with pending regulatory approval. You just have to end it that way now.
Oh,
It's too good. It's too good not to use.
That's gonna be a slogan for my life. Hey, did you do this chore? Nah, it's pending regulatory approval.
Yeah, the
Sorry,
cameras are
couldn't do
being
it.
held by the National Broadcasting Association, also called the NBA.
What?
That NBA? Which NBA? What?
Yeah, right. I'm just joking. Continue, EJ, with your question. You had a question before.
Oh, yeah, no. I wanted to pick your brain about this, right? So, Jay, can you pop us back to the picture of the towers kind of side by side, the one with the flag in the shot? Can you move us over there, dude? Because I noticed that Pad B is pointed in a different direction than Pad A. They're kind of like 90 degrees offset. See what I'm? Oh, perfect. There we go. See what I'm talking about? Oh, nope, not perfect. Yeah. There we go. Hey, thank you, sir. Space Pope, the Alex Camera Fund. I'm sorry.
Thank you for the $20 super chat on that.
Thank you. So, all right. Alex, we had that tweet from Jeff Faust about what Bill Gerstenmaier said about sub centimeter precision. So 5 mil precision here. Now, I've often wondered, like, why would they make that pad go in a different direction? Now, we all know enough about rockets here to know that, that's hard to get that kind of precision. What happens is, Starship's supposed to be able to be like an airliner. What happens on a windy day? Now, Alex, do you think that they have that pad pointed in a different direction to maybe deal with a potential crosswind for super heavy landing? This is just wild theory on my part, right? Like, I'm just kind of throwing it out there. Like, do you think that pad is offset in a different direction because the wind might be blowing in a different direction? And, this booster, it needs to be perfectly aligned on one axis when it's coming in to get caught, right? So do you think they have that so they can deal with a headwind, like land into the headwind like an aircraft? I'm genuinely curious what you think about this. It's just a kind of a weird, crazy EJ theory here.
I think it's more related with the infrastructure that they have at the pad. When they built the first tower, I don't even know if they really thought thoroughly where to put commodities relative to the tower. if you
Yep.
see the current configuration, the tank farm is in front of the tower, right? Or somewhat in front. It's sort of like in front and to the left, right? So all of the propellant lines come from the front of the tower near the OLM and then goes out to the back, not to the back, actually from the front, and then goes back inside of the structure. All of those pipes then go up and then go into the QD. Like, that's a mess. Not only is a mess, but also if you wanted to protect all of that, it's in the way of the rocket plume, right? Because they literally go next to the OLM. In fact, when they did the whole foundation, and probably Ryan can even explain this better than me, but when they put the foundations and the deluge system for the OLM, they had to go around some of those pipes in order to be able to install the plate, because it's like literally next to the OLM. Whereas on this configuration, if you rotate the tower around, and the configuration of Pad B's tower is all of the piping comes from behind. So the tower itself, just from the onset, just from the start, it already protects all of that, right? The tank farm is also behind it. Like, you have a lot of these natural protection just because of pure geometry of the whole thing, right?
Right.
So that's one thing.
Yeah.
And then the other thing as well is, once you have that constraint, obviously where you can build on the launch pad also constrains the whole construction of the pad. And you need to take into account there's going to be a flame trench with a flame diverter on pad B. So pad A doesn't have that. Maybe it'll have it once they upgrade that. But pad B will have a flame diverter with a flame trench, right? So you need to take into account where you are throwing off that exhaust. And so the most sensible way to do that is just to put it east-west, something like that, right? And so that is the arrangement that this pad is the orientation of that pad.
You think
I think
it's just for commodities? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to that more than winds or even the flight trajectory. I remember at one point, I had this like nothing was built. I only had this inkling that the tower will be facing south, essentially, right? Sort of like we're seeing already. And I explained all of these examples, and someone told me, "But wait, that means that when they fly from pad B, they overfly pad A." And it's like, yes, but they also overfly a lot of launch pads from Vandenberg and from the Cape. Like, if we're gonna be that I don't know. But anyways, that's my long answer as usual.
Yeah. So you think it's just commodities? Because it turns out that putting your tank farm in the direction of the flow from the booster during liftoff, and maybe putting a minivan there too, is probably not a good idea, right? I think we learned that one the hard way with the minivan thing. SpaceX learned with the tankage, if you guys cast your mind back to Flight 1, that who was there for that? Yeah, that minivan got messed up. Sorry, I had to bring it up. Come on, bingo card. We brought up the minivan. We're talking about Starship. We have to bring it. We have to bring it up. Come on. Anyway, I think we might be looking at a booster, or not a booster, a ship lift here. You guys think they're going to put 30 back on there?
Well, recently the sticks went in, so engaging the pins, and the stabs went in. Would you look at that? What timing? Right?
That's pretty neat.
That's a neat timing.
You can tell it's a ship 30 because of the way it is. That's pretty neat.
It's got a sticker on it that tells you it's 30.
That's pretty neat. Anyway, I actually think we got another person joining on this countdown to launch. Now that either means A, they want to join the conversation because we're having such a good one, or B, I'm messing up so bad that he's like, no, I got to go in there and fix this.
Stay US flag.
It's a beautiful horse.
Oh my god, it's a beautiful horse time. You're doing great, EJ. I'm coming on because thinking there's a potential of a ship lift here, so I thought, well, that's my ears pricked up. Hey, there's the horse reference. Carry on.
Nice. Chris, I got a question here. Guys, this is Chris Bergen, kind of Big Cheese here at NSF. Yeah, that's what we call him. We never called him that before ever. Sorry. Sorry, the cheese thing. I lost my train of thought. Anyway,
I've completely gone wrong now.
Yeah, no. Okay, all right. I remembered. Why do you hate Leeds? I'm confused.
Oh no, right, yeah. No, hate's a very strong word. It's a sports reference. We call it football. You call it soccer. Yeah, they're not even a rival to York City, but we do have a kind of begrudging dislike of their higher status. So, and they are known around the country as Dirty Leeds because of some reference. But I'll go down a rabbit hole.
Yep.
Let's not go down there because there's a lot of Americans in here going, "I'm not interested in this." I will just say, Google a video with Michael Sheen, who's a big famous actor, called A Damned United, and that will explain a lot of things. It's an amazing movie, even if you're not into sports. It's like Moneyball. I'm not into baseball, but I'll watch that movie and I'll love it. So that's The Damned United, it's called. Carry on.
Okay, so footballing thing. Gotcha. Cool. Right on. So we think we got a lift going here. I mean,
still got to wait for the
Ryan, you said the
QD arm to swing out here. It's still waiting on that.
Yep.
But the sticks are definitely gone in, and the the stabilizers are definitely in. So, could be soon. But SpaceX likes to tease us, so we'll just wait and be patient here. It is the possibility of the final stack, so we want to cover it here since. Well, yeah, I mean, it might be the first time we see them actually lift Ship 30. The next time it destacks might be hot stage. So,
yeah,
it's always loved that joke from Alex from Flight 2.
Down.
Because
Copyright
Flight 2,
strike.
I was going to say
copyright strike.
Let's be real. I'm not doing that.
Because Flight 2 was the 7 stacks for those of you who fondly remember all of those. And then when I think it was even during the stream, Alex called it out as the 8th D stack, which was when they did the hot staging. So still a good one.
I'll tell you what, Ryan, for the uninitiated, what's the next big milestone we're looking for? We've seen the arms. We'll turn it down for the new people. The arms have got a good grab hold of Ship 30. But the next thing is the ship quick disconnect, moving away from the line of fire, shall we say?
Yeah, it has to move out of the way in order to bring so the chopsticks can actually go up the tower. Otherwise, well, it might hit it. So, yeah.
Actually an amazing device when you think about it, because we were talking about the recent rollback of Mobile Launcher 1 at KSC from 39B. That is the platform all-in-one tower that actually rolls for the SLS rocket. So it's a lot more complex. But if you think about the way SpaceX has taken this approach with a static tower, a bit like the shuttle days, where it was a shuttle fixed service structure. Thank you, yes, I've done my bingo card there for shuttle. It's a fascinating approach they've taken, a simplified approach. There is literally just the one big ship quick disconnect arm there up the tower compared to the multitude of arms and umbilicals they've got on the mobile launcher. And they've got the booster quick disconnect at the bottom on the orbital launch mount, which is the version of the tail service masts that you have on the mobile launchers for SLS. The complexity, they've on purpose taken the complexity down, and that will also help with turnaround for this rapid reusability that they're going for in the future, because less complexity means less things to fix, less things to go wrong, and faster turnaround, less maintenance, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, even just stacking the rockets, even if everything else was complex, the simplicity of just lifting the thing with the same launch tower, you have those arms, and you just like even for Falcon 9, you still need a hangar and you need to roll out massive structures. Here, the massive structure itself is just a rocket, right? Like, it's so simple. It seems elegant, right? Even though it still looks rough, right? I think Starship it's still a bit rough around the edges, as they say, right? But it's still a very simple mechanism. You don't see a bunch of people with wires and trying to align the rocket stages and everything like the old days, or well, I said the old days, but it's still being done for a lot of rockets out there, and so it's definitely more elegant to the view.
I also like the fact that, as you mentioned, it's not yet the Starship that is envisioned as the future vehicle of choice, the one which we'll see a lot of in the future, the ones that'll have windows, the ones that we're going to Mars. I mean, this is already quite exciting for me, I will say the least. I say quite exciting. I was under exaggerating slightly. I'm very excited about it all, but I'm just thinking about the future when we start seeing what we've seen in the renders with the massive windows and taking massive amounts of cargo and people to Mars. It's something that I can go back in my old, because I'm quite old, I can go back in my years, back via the show program. They were always talking about Mars. They were always talking about Mars, but it was always 20 years away. And that plan never really advanced from 20 years. In fact, it slipped a little bit further. I would say at some point it was 25 years on one of the NASA documents for human landings on Mars. This vehicle changes that. I think SpaceX and Elon would never say, yeah, we might get to Mars in 20 years. They're talking about 2 years and 4 years, which is very ambitious, but it's not 20 years. So we're in a game changer situation now.
Yep. We should be seeing that QD arm, that quick disconnect arm. If you see that structure, the launch tower, or there you go, the other view from the other side, that is the arm that supplies all of the propellants, all of the fluids and commodities to the ship. It also provides power as long as it is connected to that. So you have a bunch of connections that go up there. And obviously, as you can see there, it's sort of in the way of the chopsticks, those rails on the launch tower. So it needs to retract. It needs to go away, and then the chopsticks will be able to lift the ship on top of the booster.
And a quick programming warning that I will go quiet for about 30 seconds when they do start to lift, because that's when I get my Bandicam out and I start recording. And the last thing I want to do is record my own audio on a clip that I put on X. It just feels very self-ingenuous, and I just don't want to do it.
Dude, do you? I don't know about you. I can't stand the sound of my own voice.
I can't.
I
Yeah.
hate hearing myself talk. Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, people go back saying, "Oh, that live stream," and you're thinking, "I've got to find a certain clip point," and you're scrubbing through the video that you were on, and you're thinking, "Oh God, that's me."
Yep. Yep. Right there with you.
Oh, let's see.
I was thinking, have we got the panel up? Because I'm going
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
find
I
the
got the
panel.
panel up.
Oh, you've got the panel. Very good.
I'll run through support since I've been doing it this stream. I guess I'll go ahead and do it. I got Telstar86 with gifting one red team memberships here. Thank you. Got Jan with a store message saying go for catch. Well, I hope so. Let's all hope. You got Owen with a store message. I've now got all 5, almost completing the Infinity Gauntlet. You know, I just can't wait to see what everyone comes up with for Flight 6. It's always gonna look cool as usual. Let's see here. We've got Joseph full set here. Thanks for all you do and welcome Cody. Great addition to the team. Yep, and we thank Cody. He's a fun addition. I can't wait to see him on more streams here.
He did great, man.
Oh yeah, he did great. First time on cam. Yeah, you can always be nervous when you go on cam for the first time. I know I was. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Got Jeff with a store message. I love it. Best one yet. Let's see here. Matthew 5 with upgraded member, upgrading to Capcom. Thank you. I got Jesse with a store message heading down to Florida tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll catch the Falcon Heavy and get to watch IFT 5. Well, be careful when you head down to Florida, considering the 2 hurricanes that just passed through there. But yeah, hopefully you can catch Europa Clipper and watch Flight 5. I mean, we might have like back-to-back really, really high-profile launches here. So, yeah, looking forward to all that. Brian with a store message. Finally ordered 2, one for me and one for my son who works at Starbase. That's really cool.
Very cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. So well, tell him we say hi, right?
Yeah, tell him to pass one of our cameras as he's going to work,
Yeah,
and just like wave the patch in front of the camera.
Yeah, wait. We got. Let's see here. Go put that up there. We got Salvador. I have the patch collection. Absolutely a fan of NSF. Great work, guys. Thank you. Anonymous. Eat, sleep, starbase, repeat with a store message. That sounds like Jack. Over and over again. That sounds like Jack. Except for you want to put bacon, sleep, starbase, repeat on that one for Jack. Telstar86 again here with a $5 super chat. If the ships don't have pins, what are they lifted on by the chopsticks? Well, yeah, we can. So the ships have basically sockets. So there's a pair of lifting pins on the top of the chopstick itself. And those basically slide into an open socket just under the flap, at least just under the flap on block 1. Block 2, it's down at the payload bay. They change the whole thing up because they're gonna stretch the ship. So basically, what happens is it slides in, and then the sticks go up and kind of just lock into it. Is basically what happens, and yeah, and it basically takes the weight like that. So they cannot catch in that configuration. I don't know how you would line that up that quickly and get it to do that. So they're gonna have to find a way to make like deployable pins down the line or something.
I can see that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Alex. Yeah.
I was going to say that with the design for version 2, I can see a way of potentially maybe doing that behind the flaps, because now the flaps are no longer in the plasma trail, so to speak, right?
That's
Like
a good point, Alex.
you could in theory hide those mechanisms behind the flaps. They're no longer in the plasma, and now you deploy them. I don't know. Like I'm saying this, and it sounds, oh yeah, you deploy them, and it's like, but you need a deployment system. You need a way to save them during flight. You need multiple different systems, right, to be able to accomplish that. So it's not something that you can essentially just retrofit on any of these early version 2 ships that we've seen, because I'm also sure that Telstar 86 is probably talking about that, because earlier you mentioned that the ships for version 2 that we have seen so far don't seem to have any hardware for any sort of catch, which it is true. And again, I'm not sure it will be that easy to just retrofit, but also SpaceX is very well known for retrofitting stuff. So who knows? Maybe in the future they could do something like that to 33 and 34 and be like, yeah, why not? Flight 7 is gonna be catching the ship or something. I don't know.
Now, Alex, just to make sure we got everybody up to speed here. If you guys see that the starship on the screen, if you look at those top fins, right, you see how the front edge of the flaperons is curved, and the bottom ones are kind of flat right there, right? The newer versions, what Alex was talking about is the newer versions of Starship actually have a curved front edge and a curved rear edge. So there's a huge kind of open spot where that flat part of the wing would be. So, Alex, you're talking about there, right? Just make sure we get everybody on the same page there.
Essentially, in the wake, on the leeward side of the flaps, and so the flaps will act sort of like protecting that mechanism.
Yeah. Cool. Also, flaperons. I'm not taking that one back. We're calling them that.
I mean, they kind of act like that, you know.
They're flaperons, man. You can roll with them. They're flaperons.
Got a $5 super chat. What?
You heard it here first. Anyway.
$5 super chat from Duke Nukem. Why not make a Massey style pad for ship to land on? I don't really know what you mean by that, to be honest with you.
Like an LZ1 at masses?
I may. Okay. Yeah.
You may disagree with it, but yeah, that's what I share the questions related to. The fun thing about masses is that I was going to ask you a question about masses, Ryan. Is do you ever imagine that it will progress further than ship static fires? Do you think they'll ever do a booster static fire there? Because I'm just looking at pad turnaround. Oh. You know, you've taken a lot of strain away from the processing flow by having ships firing up at masses, but can boosters ever be done there, do you reckon?
I don't think so. You're talking a difference of 6 engines to 33 engines.
Mm.
I don't think that pad can take that, and to build the pad for that, you're talking something like the Saturn V or SLS test stand. I think it's the B2, is it the B1 or 2 test stand at Stennis? I'm trying to remember
B2.
which test stand.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking of something of that scale for super heavy. I doubt it. Personally,
I'm not gonna lie to you. SpaceX wants to build another B2 size test stand.
they could.
I'm gonna be here for it. I'm here for that.
Yeah.
That I love that thing.
One
Also,
other thing to one thing to take into account though, um, new boosters and new ships will probably need static fires and cryo tests and whatnot, just like new Falcon 9 boosters do. But once they've flown, those Falcon 9 boosters, they never return to McGregor. They rarely, like maybe once in their lifetime again, maybe they do a static fire test because they have changed something or the mission that they're flying on is super, super important. It's very rare for them to be tested once again. So there's a good chance that, sure, the pad might be constrained, and taken up by one of these boosters for one day for a static fire test or something. And then once the static fire test is done, it launches and then it gets reused over and over and over again without any need for another static fire test. So it's sort of like you can think about that sort of like planes as well, right? Planes do get some initial test flights, and then they are deployed. So you could say, oh well, the runway that they are flying off, it gets held up by the plane because it's like sure, but you still have that, right? I don't know. You also have scheduled maintenance and things like that. You have to fix them every now and then. Gotta change the thinking of how rockets should be maintained.
Yeah, they're gonna have to start fixing these things like airplanes eventually, and that entails a whole thing to it.
Yeah, you're the plane guy here.
Yeah, it can get it. They'll have to come up with their own maintenance program for it and what they think may need to be maintained, what they think needs to be looked at. It'll happen as they learn the vehicle. Like Falcon 9, with how much they've flown it, they understand. They should have a relatively good understanding of what breaks, what doesn't, what needs to get replaced after flights, what doesn't, what should be inspected, what doesn't need to be inspected after a certain number of flights or flight hours or whatever they want to call it. Because every time they pressurize that, they load the vehicle up with propellant and then it gets depressed. It's considered a cycle on that fuselage. Basically, you expand it and contract it again and again and again, and it takes its toll and it can eventually start cracking. So it's up to SpaceX to figure out how much there is to do with that.
Now, Ryan, forgive me. Like you know more about this. I'm not trying to be like, well, gotcha. I'm actually curious. We know that aluminum airframes crack, right? Do we know if stainless cracks? I don't know. I don't know.
After
I'm not.
enough time, it will.
You think so?
Pressurize it and depressurize it enough, eventually it'll start cracking.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're just wearing the material.
Yeah, of course.
You're
Yep.
you're just expanding and contracting it. I don't know how many cycles it would take, how many flights it would take, but you have to remember it's not just the cycling on that. Like when you consider a cycle on an aircraft, that is from takeoff to landing is one cycle. And
because it's pressurizing the fuselage, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily for fuel,
well,
but
plus
for
running
fuselage.
it's a cycle on the engines, it's a cycle on the airframe. It's a whole cycle is what they consider it as. And airframe is only good for so many cycles. It's usually like 40,000 cycles. It's a lot. A lot more than people think. Airframes last 30 to 40 years or longer, depending on what they're flying for. Eventually, it gets to the point where you can't fly any passengers anymore, and they're only relegated to cargo. But it's going to be up to SpaceX to figure out what their limits are for these vehicles in the long run.
Aluminium.
All right, I'll meet you in the middle with aluminum. Is that fair?
That's fair.
All right, cool, good, sweet. We broke our peace deals here, chat.
Got what? Nathan with a storm message. Gotta get them all.
Yeah. All right.
Pokemon.
Space Pope with a $20 super chat. Thank you. The Alex Camera Fund. Mighty Don $20 super chat for another Alex Cam Fund. There you go, Alex. You get a new camera. Ethereal Swordsman $10 super chat. When NSF team game night? I can't imagine Among Us cart or a fighting game tourney being any less spicy than the Flame Trench, or even multiplayer KSP or open RCT to build cool things together.
I mean, that are we talking video games or are we talking like actual sports? Because I would do either one of those.
Video games. I see this request a lot, EJ. We actually did a GTA 5 server for a bit in the early days where we're all flying around shuttle carrier aircrafts around the main airspace of Los Santos, which was hilarious because we all had one and there was far more shuttle carrier aircrafts than I've ever seen in my life. So we did that for a while, but I think, obviously we need to find something that everyone gravitates towards because that's kind of like not everybody's cup of tea, shall we say? But I'm all for it. If we can think of a way of doing it, I'm definitely game for it.
Got Patrol with 20 gifted red team memberships. Wow, English is hard. Can't speak. Thank you so much for all that. That's generous. EUFO 000 gifting 10 red team memberships. Thank you for gifting those. Phil with a $2 super chat. Down with dirty leads from a Man U fan. Ben Creasy Vision with a $10 super chat. Other than a full wet WDR, what kind of testing can they do with the full stack ahead of launch?
I don't think there really is much left, right?
Not really. I mean, move the flaps, move the fins, test the igniters, things like that.
I bet there's some software as well that they like to do late loading of software based on the trajectory they're expecting, and a lot of that be due to weather conditions and what have you. So I think that'll probably be a late item, maybe even during the countdown. We've seen how I remember ULA are quite open with their countdowns. You hear things about weather balloons and how they then insert that data into the flight software. And I'm sure rockets are the same, but that ULA are quite open about that. So maybe something related to that would be in play.
Actually, Ryan, I had one more question about EMP stuff, if you don't mind. Like, I know I'm asking the questions,
go ahead.
right?
Yeah.
So like, you don't have to be specific. Like, what are you work on? Twin engine, single engine? Like, what type of planes do you work on? Just I'm just wondering.
737-800s.
Oh, okay, all right. So, all right, cool. So the good kinds, right? With the kinds we like. So what is like the thing that needs to be maintained the most on a big, like an ETOPS aircraft like that? Like, what's the bottleneck? Just out of curiosity.
Sorry, what was the question again?
What needs the most maintenance on one of those things? I'm going somewhere with this. I swear, chat.
What needs the most maintenance? I gotta think here because it really depends on what breaks. Like there's a lot of times you get cabin write-ups from the flight attendants, like seat issues or light issue, like lights that'll fail, fluorescent lights, all that other kind of stuff. And those kind of a pain. It will kind of add up, but stuff like that. If I'm talking like major systems that might need like the most kind of maintenance, man, I've work on a lot of them. Is the kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to do Chapter 38. That can have a lot of issues at times. Sometimes you can have chronic issues with that. For those of you who don't know, ATA Chapter 38 is water and waste. I will not say any more than that.
No,
I'm not gonna say any more than that.
No,
Not going there.
Fair.
You asked, I'm not saying any more than that. The engines can be kind of fun. Depends on if you run into any issues with the IDGs, your integrated drive generators, or things like that. A lot of it's just basic preventative maintenance, checking stuff on the inside, making sure the oils are topped off, make sure you don't have anything missing or don't like missing static wicks, panels, whatever. I mean, a lot of it's just preventative stuff is really what it is.
Cool. Okay, so Now that we have that context, I want to ask your opinion. I'm just genuinely curious. You know, we were talking about load cycles on Starship with the commodity tanks. What do you think is going to be? I mean, hopefully it's not the toilet on Starship. Like, let's be real. I mean, hopefully I don't eat those words. What do you think? What do you think would be the thing that you got to keep track of with a ship like Starship? You know, something that's going through all those crazy cycles. Is that the thing to look for? Like cracks in the stainless steel? Yeah.
Heat shield.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
Heat
That's what
shield's
I
going to
thought
be
you'd
the
say.
most, because you're going to be flying. You're flying through the air with it, and you're re-entering with it. And it's the most fragile piece on it. I would assume it's going to be tile maintenance and replacement is going to be the biggest item on Starship, just as it was like the biggest item on Shuttle. It's the unfortunate thing of a reusable vehicle is the heat shield. I mean, I can't. I'm trying to think of something else. Like on Booster, it'll probably be engine stuff. Is being my assumption. On engine stuff for grid fin things because the amount of stresses they go under during the flight. But on Starship, it's definitely the heat shield. A heat shield and flaps that'll undergo the most stresses, and we need the most preventative maintenance and maintenance in general.
Yeah, for the space shuttle, it was TPS as you'd expect, and MPS, main propulsion system. On the aft of the space shuttle, you'd have the 3 engine bells you'd see as they are on display. But because the ones on display, such as the one at Kennedy Space Center Visitor Center, looks like it's got 3 engines, it's not. They're scrap nozzles because you can't see the inner workings of the MPS, which is all in the aft. That is basically the power systems and all the big fancy lines and pressurization, COPVs, and all that business. That took a lot of work in OPF flows.
Yep.
Yeah, they are nozzles on sticks, as you.
They are nozzles on. They are. They're nozzles on sticks, and that people
Right.
go. I saw some real RS-25Ds. I'm going. Don't want to
There
break
is
it to you."
though. There is, but it's not attached to Atlantis at the KSC. I've seen it. There's an actual real RS-25. It's just that, you know, it's like separate in another room on the same exhibition.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, I got a question. You know, they are nozzles on sticks. Those nozzles are legit, though, right? That's not like a mock-up. Those nozzles are real, right?
Kind of. They're scrap nozzles that had left over. They've never flown those nozzles. They're just scrap nozzles, but they are actually real nozzles. They're not like made of plastic. So yeah, halfway kind of like nozzles.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, the reason why I asked, the reason why I brought this up, and Ryan, thank you for the answers, man. I appreciate it. You know, like we got to start thinking. You know that SpaceX is thinking about this like it's an airplane. They're thinking about it like a 747 that flies into space, right? Or an A380. Pick one. Pick whichever one you like. I like 730. I like 747s because shuttle, right? Right? No A380 never hauled a shuttle around. Okay, but sorry, had to get that in there. Like you got to think about like what does the con ops look like for maintaining a Starship fleet and a super heavy fleet in the future. I think that's super wild to kind of just go down that little rabbit hole there while we're waiting for the QD arm to swing out of the way. I think it's super neat.
Yeah, you know what? That's got me thinking, and
Right?
I'm not sure why I've not considered that before, because the envisioning is of boosters and ships all returning to the launch site during their missions, and obviously there were tankers, and there'll be missions to Mars where the ship goes on to Mars. So there'll be a lot in the early days, at least, of both vehicles returning. What are they going to do for turnaround? Where are they going to do the turnaround at the pad? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot of vehicles and not a lot of towers. So it's not like they can just keep hosting them on a tower and just keep recycling them that way. So maybe their future plans will include some kind of HIF where they can take them off the actual launch site and put them into like a HIF like they have at 39A for refurbishment, for work that may be needed on certain vehicles that need the work, and do it that way and just keep rotating them through the tower that way. That would make more sense to me, but that's amazingly something I've considered before, so that is interesting.
Like
we're gonna need some OPFs, Chris. I think some OPFs are in order.
When I think about it for the maintenance of this, say you've already flown a ship 30, 40, 50 times or more, 60. So let's say if ship flies 100 times. What's your check interval on that? Because for aircraft, there is what's called a C check. So for people who go on aircraft, you got all the seats, the bins in, the false wall. the interior walls, the floor panels, all that. When it comes to a C check, all of that gets taken off. Anything that's not riveted to the aircraft is taken out. All boxes, all panels, all seats, everything gets taken out of the aircraft, and they check for corrosion, they check for cracks, they check for everything. What's the interval for that for Starship, and where are you going to do that? You need a hangar to do that in, to open up all the panels, to take out all the engines, to open the whole thing up. And not only that, you might have to strip the heat shield to take a look to see if there's any cracks under there. You might be able to do that from inside the tanks, but that's still a possibility you might need to do. Check for corrosion under the flaps, under the tiling system. Like, where are you going to do that at? You need to build a set of hangars and equipment to do all that. And they don't have that right now. You're talking massive hangars, like more than just something the size of the VAB.
I was going to say VAB. I need starships in the VAB. I'm sorry, Chris, go.
No, it's fine. I mean, exactly. I think that might actually be something that we could try and bring up next opportunity we get to ask someone involved in the future plans, because that is interesting. Also, it's not a direct comparison because it's a different kind of vehicle, but Falcon 9s, when you see the sooty Falcon 9 boosters that have flown several times, you will see lines on the booster. That is where they have literally taken it into the HIF and gone through the weld points, the weld lines on the vehicle to check that everything is fine. So they've actually scrubbed off the soot on that. That's why it's got lines. And a lot of people don't really know why they've got lines in the boosters. When we see them returning to Port Canaveral, or when we see them out on the pad and they see the lines then, that is where they're checking the weld lines. Now, obviously, with a vehicle that's mainly covered in TPS, that'll be a different kettle of fish. But that, again, aligns with the last 3 or 4 questions about the maintenance. The maintenance were mainly on the TPS, and that's something they can do out in the open, but when we get into the business end, especially crewed flights, you want an environmental situation where the work you do on that TPS is completely protected from the environment. So, again, hangars.
Yeah.
Didn't we also see a document a little while back? And I could be pulling this one completely out of thin air, guys. I think we saw a SpaceX paper somewhere for a Starship breakover device. So, like, there's the possibility is out there. What's that, Ryan?
The TEA is where it came from.
Yeah, they talked about a Starship breakover. So, guys, if you don't know what a breakover is, it's basically a nice way of saying a piece of equipment that takes the vehicle from vertical to horizontal. So, like, Blue Origin has one at Port Canaveral that's designed to receive New Glenn and turn it on its side. I know Kevin does not have that picture around. Kevin, I'm not going to ask for it. That one, we'd have to go find it. But do you know, we're talking about like a high bay. Do you think we're gonna see something like a big, like, space station processing facility sized clean room and have Starship tip over on its side and bring it into like an orbiter processing facility style structure? I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of here for that. I kind of want that.
I think they keep
sweet.
it vertical for that. I think if they're gonna do horizontal, it would be for transportation only.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I think for bays to do maintenance, and they just have a boatload of processing stands. Like, I want some gigantic bay with like a transfer aisle and a bunch of processing stands and whatnot.
I'm here for that as well. That would be great as well.
We can expand on this a little bit, AJ. We're going down a rabbit hole, but this is a fun rabbit hole to go down because Alan L in chat, I'm just reading chat, literally reading chat as chat's scrolling past my eyes. Alan L asks, hate to raise this, but again, catch tower. Now, while 39A has certainly got plans for a catch tower, that does make it intriguing that it provides a little bit more capability for the returning vehicles to then be taken down off the catch tower into maybe on some transport system into a hangar like an OPF for that refurbishment, that for those inspections and for checks, whilst not interfering with operations for the next mission on the tower, the actual launch tower itself. So while catch towers seems like overkill, I think, Ryan, we both, even Alex, don't you, we all think that's a bit overkill, but we've seen in the plans for 39A now, the most recent ones. So obviously that's something they're considering. That could then be in an area where there is a locality of a hangar to allow for those inspections.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It could also be just for, operational use of the pad where, when you're starting to launch payloads instead of tankers, you need to load the payloads. Like, sure, you land the ship, you land the booster, you catch it on the arms, you put it back on the OLM, and you can, fill it up again and fly it. You cannot do just that with the ship, because the ship up top inside of its payload bay, it needs to carry something, so you need to load that. And the thing is, having a separate catch tower makes sense for an operational launch pad such as 39A. Remember, Starbase is essentially an R&D facility for SpaceX, whereas 39A it's more of an operational site. It makes sense because while you are using one of those towers to catch another ship, on the other hand, you can prepare another rocket, another launch campaign on the main launch pad. And so I see the benefit of that there. I just, when they were building Pad B and that second tower, we were saying, oh, that's gonna be a catch-only tower and stuff like that. As we've seen now, they're very much, catching with Pad A and that tower, that first tower. So no, it's not gonna be just for that. So far, it's just gonna be another launching and catch tower as it, as Pad A. But at 39A at the Kennedy Space Center, it does make sense because, probably in the future, it'll be launching a lot of times. We've seen SpaceX requesting up to 44 launches from there, probably more later down the line. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of launches out of there. And if they can just do those landings separately without, bothering all of the stuff that is going on at the main pad and things like that, that'd be nice.
We could even discuss LC-49, which is not happening right now. It's on the back burner. They've had issues getting the environmental process through. Remember, NASA officially announced this one. They officially announced LC-49 going through an environmental report, but then it dragged on, as these things can do. And that's why SpaceX is kind of reverting their eyes. Or averting their eyes is the right word. I used to be a writer. Averting their eyes towards 37B, which is the ULA pad, which ULA will end their lease at the end of this year, and it's likely, not official, likely will go to SpaceX. But LC-49's plans were amazing because our KSC friends talked about 6 towers at LC-49. Now that does now intriguingly bring up the question, was that 3 launch towers and 3 catching towers? Maybe. Because 6 towers seemed like overkill to me, even when he mentioned it. And it was legitimate information. I know the guy who told me, and he knows these things because he's involved with the pad structures at Cape Canaveral. So maybe that was 3 launch towers because they were in 3 sets of 2. So that kind of makes sense. Again, rabbit hole, but this is intriguing.
It also is interesting to know that even now with the 37B pad, they said they want to launch 76 times from that launch pad, plus the 44, so 76 per year from 37, plus the 44 per year from 39A. That is essentially 120 launches per year out of Florida with Starship, which is even more than the Falcon 9 launch cadence across 3 different launch pads. And that is, without the proposal from SpaceX to have 25 launches per year out of Starbase. So that is a lot of launches that they're planning. Of course, we've seen Elon also saying 1,000 launches per year in 2028. We'll see about that. But yeah, it's very interesting to see how they're going to be able to do all of those many launches, not just from an operational standpoint, but even just tankers, because those are probably going to be the ones where they can actually catch the ship, put it on the booster, fuel it up, and launch it again, because it doesn't have anything other than propellant, right? So yeah.
Okay, that's a good point. I got another question, guys. Then Chris, you said six towers, right? They said 6 towers, right? That's what the guy was telling you. All right, we know from what we've seen at Sanchez from Jack's flyover pictures, right, that this new style of orbital launch mount that they're building for the second pad, for Pad B, is definitely not the donut-shaped one that we've seen on Pad A. Now, here I'm gonna throw it out there, and Chris, you're gonna know exactly what I'm getting at. I'd say that SpaceX's new launch OLM looks a lot like a mobile launcher platform.
It does.
What if consider this? They said 6 towers. What if there's 3 catching or 3 landing? What if you clean pad those towers, right? And then you just have 6 towers. And then you have 3 of those OLM mobile launcher platform things, and you just move them around on SPMTs. So you can configure towers for launch. You can configure towers for landing. Like, think about it. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think they'll do a mobile launcher platform shuttle style?
Zach thinks.
Is that what Zach thinks?
Well, okay. Mobile launcher, as in it's an interchangeable pad, but they wouldn't roll the booster to the launch site on it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about strictly swapping out the plates. They're not going to stack on it and then move the whole thing to the pad, right? This is just about configuring the pad. Like, I mean, I want to see a Starship roll out of the VAB just as much as the next guy, but I don't think that's going to happen, right? Like, I'm talking about configuring the pads for plates, because the OLM is the risky part, right? We all know that. That is the most complicated piece of GSE. I mean, save for maybe the chopsticks, but you don't need the OLM for landing, but you do need the chopsticks for launching and landing, right? So I'm talking about not like, they launch from the pad and like an SPMT comes in there, pulls the thing away, in the 7 minutes flight time that they have. I'm talking about reconfiguring. You'll be able to reconfigure pads. Like, you could have one configured for landing and then one configured for launching, right? You'll be able to set it. You'll just have 6 towers, but you could set down the plates wherever you want.
It's intriguing. First of all, if Zach Golden thing started out, it's pretty legit because he knows his GSA.
Yeah.
He really does. His
Oh, yeah.
CSI Starbase, great channel.
Man.
The other thing is, it seems, well, it depends. The obvious caveat to mention from the start is whoever at SpaceX is designing these things has all the PDFs that will never get public, but he's working on it. The team's working on it. They will know what they're doing. I mean, that's the thing. No one here will be able to say, well, that doesn't like the right approach. They will know what they're doing, and you can always trust in the engineers at all space companies, not just SpaceX, at all companies. They know what they're doing. They're paid. That's their career. The interesting thing is the comparison to the clean pad situation. Like 39B is a clean pad now. They're taking down the fixed service structure. They've got the towers there from Ares, silly rocket Ares, the 600-foot towers they've got there. And they've modified it slightly so that when the mobile launcher 1, mobile launcher 2 rolls out, it goes over pedestals and literally sat down on it. And then the crawler moves away, and then they put the rocket's already on top. So everything's there ready to go. I'm trying to put that in a comparison with Starship and the booster and not rolling all the way from the VAB down the crawl away on it. So maybe a simplified system would be allowable, maybe on rails, maybe powered, a bit like what ULA do with its little train tracks. We're thinking that.
I was just thinking, say you go to land on one and it damages the OLM. They'll just be able to lift that thing right off with some SPMTs, take it to wherever they need to work on it, right? And then swap a new one back in, like have a couple waiting in the wings. Or if they're just attempting a straight landing on towers, you take it off and you don't have to worry about risking it, right? Like a almost clean pad, but almost not. Like, there really is no analog, right? Because there's never been a vehicle like this, right?
Yeah.
Like the shuttle needed the runway to land, so landing it back on the launch pad, that's not happening, right? The reason why I bring this stuff up, it's just it gets the noggin jogging, about what this. I was going back to it. What does this future infrastructure look like? What does the maintenance on Starship look like? What do the concept of operations look like for launching 1,000 of these things? I think it's super interesting to have these thought exercises, right?
No, it is, absolutely. I mean, the ambitions SpaceX have got, the capacity is nowhere near there yet. Nowhere near. Even if they, can turn around this vehicle on the same day, on the same pad, they haven't got enough towers still. Thousands of launches is what Elon said. And, that is absolutely bonkers when you think about it. They're going to need so much capacity from a launch standpoint. I've got every confidence in the construction of the vehicle standpoint. I think with Roberts Road, once that is at its expanded state, along with Starbase and the Star Factory and the production site there, I think I've got every confidence in SpaceX being able to achieve the vehicle production capability. But the launch capability is going to be amazing to watch them get even close to that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
By the way, can I take a question from me? Very self-indulgent.
Sure.
But like I say, I'm reading YouTube chat. I'm not looking at any panel or anything like that. I'm looking at YouTube chat like the rest of you. Big Head 4201 asks me, Chris being from the UK, what going to spaceflight? Okay, so if you guys want to take a 5-minute break, Because I will go through my little story here. It's a true story. When I was a very little Crispy, I was doing a paper round to try and get some paper money, some pocket money for myself. And it was one day I was riding around on my bike, doing my paper deliveries to the good people of York. And I got back to the newsagents. It was late afternoonish. And there was two guys. I can still picture this in my mind. It's stuck in my head so much. It's unreal. There were two big men, because I was only a little boy at the time, two big men outside the newsagents where I was coming back to say I've finished my paper round, saying the space shuttle exploded. And it resonated with me. I don't know why. I knew what the space shuttle was, but I hadn't any interest in it. I'd seen maybe on the news a few times. I knew what it looked like. And for some reason, it was like, hearing those words, it was just so surreal that I went home and my mother had BBC News on. And it was showing the downrange by then, the downrange view of the debris hitting the Atlantic. And then they showed the replay of the launch. And the feeling I had at the time was not the tragedy. It was like, wow, that's beautiful. Because it was a blue sky day. As you all know, everyone's watched 51L's launch. It was a blue sky day. It was an ultra cold morning because that was one of the problems. And I was intrigued by it. I was intrigued by the launch. It was awful. It was a terrible tragedy. But I remember as a young person, you don't really resonate too much in those emotions. My emotion was seeing this amazing space plane with boosters and fire and taking off. And I was like, this is amazing. And the next day I went to the library before the internet. This time I'm not old. I went to the library and I got books on the space shuttle. And that was it. I was hooked. So the disaster of Challenger 51L is what got me into spaceflight. And that's where I just got books and books and books on the space shuttle. And it went from there. That is literally a true story.
That's how it happens, man. I mean, that's not the best way to get into it, but yeah, it's usually seeing a launch or something. But yeah, I don't know, something about it that resonates, man. Once it grabs you, it doesn't let go.
And thanks to chat for translating what newsagent is. It's literally a shop that has newspapers, and I'm sure you've got paper boys and stuff in America. It's that kind of thing. Yeah.
I got. I guess we can do some more support here. Bruno with a store message. Hey there. Never really bought any spaceflight commemoration products, but with this flight, possibly attempting a booster catch and the absolute beautiful design of this patch, I just had to. P.S. No, I don't know. I'm not reading that one. No, I refuse. Kevin can read it if he wants.
Was it Ship 26 Fan Club or something like that? Oh yeah, it is. I see it on screen. P.S. Ship 26 fans rise up. Oh dear.
Got Billy with a store message. We'll be watching from Shetland, hoping to see a catch a long way away from that stage at Saxiford.
Yeah. That's a while off, isn't it? I mean, we've got the two UK launch sites in the north of Scotland, one in the Shetlands. Saxiford is the one in the Shetlands. That's 3 ferry trips once you get to stop at Scotland, so that's a heck of a journey. And then you've got Sutherland, which is on the actual coast, on the actual mainland of Scotland, right at the north as well. So that's a heck of a journey. In fact, it's faster for me to get a plane, actually including the train trip to Manchester Airport, getting a flight to Florida to KSC. It's faster for me to do that than it is to drive from the north of England to the north to Saxiford. It really is that long a journey.
Then we've got Miss Daisy.
Did I hear Ship 26?
Oh,
God's here.
Here he is.
Oh.
I might have heard Ship 26.
No, nobody said that.
No, it was my accent, Kevin. It just sounded like that. It was completely different to something I was saying.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll go back to operating. Bye.
Okay, bye. Yeah, Miss Daisy with a $20 super chat. This QD Armory tract is pending regulatory approval.
Yeah, it feels like that.
I'll just say this for those of you who are watching. We're still waiting on the press plate to come off. It's not off yet. So we're kind of waiting to see if SpaceX will go over there and take it off. But the crane is not over there yet either. So we're just kind of watching and waiting to see if SpaceX goes ahead with this or not, because it seemed like they were gearing up for it and then maybe not. So we're just kind of hanging around with you guys, trying to see if they're going to lift this thing for the final lift before Flight 5.
Let's go.
Yeah. See, I don't even know how to pronounce that. We had a new member, Catcom. I don't want to butcher something. You wanna try that, EJ?
Is that the one that's at the top of the
Yeah,
top
new
of the
member.
queue? Yeah, that's you could call him Balxy. That's Balxy. He's a viewer on my
Bouncy?
stream.
Okay.
Balxy, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Just making sure. Um, Tribe in Motion upgraded member upgraded to Red Team. There you go. Thank you for the support. Bideford, as always, with 10 gifted Red Team membership. Mainstay here at on Start and on any NSF stream really. We got Joey with a store message headed to Starbase this weekend. What did Joey get? See if it pops up here. Got the Raptor T-shirt. There you go. It's a good addition. Angie with a store message. Love the coverage and I love these patches. We'll be adding it to my collection. Another thing to add to my collection. Can't wait for Flight 5. Let's go Starship.
Was that Ryan doing an impression there?
I was trying to do Grievous, but I failed.
Oh.
I didn't see this one. Oh yeah, I think this one forgot to go through. Owen with the store message. This is from a while back. The thing never went through. Panel. Tevin with a store message. Keep up the great work, guys. One of the best streams for your space news. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see what Tevin got.
By the way, while you're doing that, how well did Cody do? Cody was amazing. He's a little rock star for the future, Cody.
Yep, he did great.
Let's see here. Got the patch. Christopher Tibboney? The pissed off bus driver with a $10 super chat. Just tuned in, so is the FAA giving them their license to fly? Not yet. The FAA has not released it.
We have pretty much everything but at this point, right? Like what are we missing aside from the license?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe some I don't think there's any
Evacs?
more. Evacs plus maybe like sound notices because the possible RTLS. That's about it though, I think. Yeah, there is not much left. So, Premier League with a $10 super chat. How much lateral, longitudinal, vertical, and rotational leeway does the booster have to be caught by Mechazilla? It's a loaded
It's not
question.
a lot. It's really not a lot. I mean, do you want us to give you lat longe in degrees, minutes, in seconds? It's less than a second if we're talking latitude, longitude coordinates. We're like.
By the way, two things. One, Premier League. Who's your team? Because obviously that username is related to the Premier League. And secondly, I do believe we've got a video tonight that helps explain some of these answers.
Yeah, we have a video coming out tonight that'll answer those questions. If you wanted to know the answer.
One of the things that you'll see is all of those things about longitudinal, lateral, vertical, whatever. One of the things that I should actually say here, though, it's not on the video. The video actually centers on a different topic, which is Falcon 9 versus Super Heavy. But the way that Super Heavy and the Chopsticks actually deal with all of these uncertainties is when you think about the vertical component of the whole thing, the Chopsticks don't move up and down. The carriage system, it just stays up there at the top of the tower. So that doesn't move, and they don't need that because if you think about it, if the booster is not coming down with a good vertical speed, it's not coming good in the vertical direction, you can forget about whatever it is hitting, right? Like it's gonna hit at a decent velocity. As for the other two axes, so to speak, the other two directions, you have sort of outwards and inwards from the tower, so closer to the tower, further out to the tower radially. You have the landing rail is very, very long. Like it's a really long piece of equipment. So there's a lot of leeway there. The actual axis that it's very complicated for the booster to hit or to be able to nail down, you have to think about the other third one, which is left and right around the tower, which is why the Chopsticks only need to close. That's the whole point of the chopsticks. When you see what axis they move on the one that the booster, might need a little bit of help, which is left and right. And so they close, they do this slapping, and that sort of helps guide the booster into position. Hopefully, though, with that half centimeter or even half a meter precision, that'll help on all of that. It's a very complicated maneuver, though. It's not that easy. Like I'm saying all of this, and it kind of feels like, oh yeah, whatever. It's a very complicated thing, but it's not as complicated as it sounds. A bunch of the things that will constrain the chances of success are the things that they can actually control.
Then we got, let's see here, Mr. Piotrkov, I think. Thank you for coming, Pat Rad member. Sorry if I'm butchering these names. I'm not great at names. Horrible at them. Anonymous with a store message. Ready for catch. Let's go. Love the coverage. Always. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Got the patch. Brianna Matthews with the $10 super chat. I'm siding with EF. I assume you meaning EJ.
Yeah, that was the typo. That was me.
I think mobile pad makes sense. I believe they stopped the third booster transport stand. They actually did not stop the third booster transport stand. They recently just painted it. They're slowly working on it. They don't even need 2 booster transport stands right now. That's why they really haven't been working on it, but they didn't stop on it. Telstar86 with gifting a Red Team membership. Thank you. Sky Blue with a $5 super chat. Didn't say anything. Thank you. Anonymous. What?
Train.
Oh, yeah.
It's the hype train.
The hype train.
Choo choo.
Anonymous store with a store message. Get them while they got them. Yep. Getting the patch, I assume. Yep, Fly patch. And then Sky Blue is a new member. Thank you for coming, a Pat Red member, and that is literally caught up on all the support. Do we have any questions that we can look at here?
Well done, Ryan, because we do get so much support. It is hard to keep up with. We do make a real conscious effort to make sure no one feels left out for being kind enough to support us, which again, I find surreal. We get so much support. Remember, there's 4,500 people in here, and the amount of support we get, even on Raptor side with 2,000 people in, is absolutely bonkers. I was watching Ryan Hall with the hurricane coverage last night. Amazing coverage, as always, from Ryan Hall. And he had like 350,000 in, and I don't think he was getting like obviously the same level of support we were getting, and he was doing some like public service. I mean, we are covering rockets. We take great pride in what we do, but let's face it, this is not life or death. This is rockets. It's fun. It's cool, and it's future, and it's interesting, and it's positive. But when you compare it to some things out there, it's really amazing that we get so much support, and we never lack appreciation for it.
And just as I say that, a $20 super chat from Steve Kolovec comes through. What's your chance of catch? And if it happens, will there be any dry eyes?
No way.
I'm a Yorkshireman. We don't get emotional.
I guess we can go around the horn of what's the chance. Kevin apparently in the back channel here, he gets emotional. All right, I guess we can go around the. I think I said it earlier. I think I gave him like a 70% chance of this working. I guess we can ask everyone else what they think.
I mean,
should I go? Go on, AJ, you go
Whoever wants
first.
to go first. Yeah.
I was gonna say I'll throw my hat into the ring, dude. After hearing what Gerst said yesterday, I think they'll get it. You wouldn't go out and say that and not be sure about this sub centimeter precision, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty dang high confidence, and that doesn't seem. Gerst is not the kind of guy. If you follow the shuttle program, he's not the kind of guy that's gonna hype up something or embellish something. That kind of sealed the deal for me. Like up until that tweet yesterday, I was like, they might. I don't think they're gonna get the pins. They might snag it on the grid fin, which it's still a possibility, but you don't go and say that You don't go and say that if you weren't like absolutely sure. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll get it, but also at the same time, you're gonna go out and say something like that. I think if everything goes right with the booster, yeah, they'll snag it. Absolutely.
Chris?
Is it my turn? Right.
We'll
Okay.
go with Chris. Then we'll go with Alex. See if he has a long answer.
I didn't dare interrupt Alex. That'd have been terrible of me to do. I'm hoping it's going to be a success. I just think personally, I'm sticking with my personal, which is again, I don't work for SpaceX, and thank goodness I don't, because it'd be a right mess if I did. I would have liked to see him do another soft water landing. I'm just going back to the Falcon 9 booster landings where they did a soft landing. I think they did 2. And then they went to the drone ship and they had quite a lot of booms on the drone ship before they got it right, and they've nailed it since. Let's say they've had like a couple which have not worked out of hundreds which have. So that's all worked out great. There's confidence in the fact that those people involved in making that success happen, Lars Blackmore and people like that, are involved with Starship landing now. So that experience and that confidence and that success has now translated to Starship. Again, when we heard that 0.5 centimeter accuracy with the soft water landing, that then made me think, okay, now I understand why they're not going for the soft water landing, they're going to go for the tower, because they have the abort, they have the natural abort where they'll decide at the time during the return if they're going to go for it, and they have the option of not going for it if they're not totally happy. So all those things have played into this, where I'm thinking, well, if these people, these very clever, experienced, and super brilliant people are going to say if they're confident or not and go for it, that's a terrible way of wording it. I'll try and rephrase that. If these people who know what they're doing are confident in doing it, then who am I to say I don't have the confidence? My confidence levels have increased as a basically from that information that Gerst put out there yesterday, that they've got the accuracy down to a T. Why not go for it? And with that, I think they will catch it.
Chat, just to clarify, he said sub-centimeter precision. That like, trust me, that's not me screwing up metric again. That is what he said. We have the tweet.
There's also a video as well. The audio is a bit wonky, to put it lightly, but he can be heard saying that it was 0.5 centimeter.
Oh, that's a good point, because a lot of people were thinking, was it a misquote? Did he mean 0.5 meter, which would have still been majorly impressive?
Yeah, if anything, it will have been like misrecalling or like misspeaking or something, but it was not a misquote or anything.
It's also fascinating, Gerst, to use metric as well. You could have said, what, like an 1/8 of an inch?
Yeah, I think it's about 1/5, right? Or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
What do you think, Alex? What's your percentage?
Do I go with a joke answer or the actual answer?
I don't really care.
Both.
You go.
Both.
Or both. Let's go with both, just for fun.
The chances is 50-50, of course. It either happens or it doesn't, right?
That's true.
I really don't know, if I'm gonna be honest. There's so many things going on, right? That for all we know, we may just not see any catch on this flight, because they still have all of those different health checks that they need to run, and they have the flight director needs to actually manually approve the return. So, for all we know, maybe those health checks, those automated systems, they say, no, it's not good, man. It's gonna be like on all on the old arcade games where it says game over, insert coin, sort of like that. It's gonna be whatever, insert another booster and try again. So that could be a totally equally valid thing that might happen. We just don't know, right? It's very, I guess, once they confirm that they are going for the catch after it's already done the boost back burn and everything, then I may be able to say, oh, it's gonna catch, right? I don't know. I actually don't know if I'm gonna be on the launch live stream commentary, but in any case, if they are indeed going for, like, if once it passes all of the health checks and whatnot, I think they have a good chance of catching. At the very least, an SN10 type of landing
Hang
where
on, we
it
need.
lands
Hang on a minute, Alex.
on
We
on
need
fire.
Alex excitement on this launch. Come on, we need Alex
Yeah,
excitement
I
on
hope
the launch.
I hope I'm on launch too. I can't. I so badly wanna be just there. I just want to be on and just share my excitement for them trying to go for a catch. I so badly want to do it.
One thing that I said, because you saw how Booster 11 came down, right? That it had a lot of flames. Also, methane, when you shut down a methane engine, methane likes to be very flamey. I wouldn't be surprised if the first time they catch a booster, the booster just goes on fire.
Remember,
It's happened with Falcon 9 already. Like,
remember,
the first boosters landed and the engine section went up on fire.
they may still have some CO2 left over to do it. They may do an engine purge.
Maybe, yeah.
Just after landing to purge that all out. So that might actually not be a problem anymore.
I guess that's the benefit of carrying sort of like their own fire extinguishers.
Basically,
Wouldn't the what might be pushing the limits of what the water deluge system can do, but with the water deluge system firing during the landing, if things go a bit fiery or a bit wrong, would that be some natural protection to the pad structures?
not by how much they seem to be firing it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, because they're only like partially firing the deluge just to kind of protect the pad ground, as far as I can tell. It's the booster QD in the top of the OLM will get a little bit more fried, but not as much as at launch. Because remember, it's not 33 engines; it's 3 engines at like half power. So, yeah.
And it's not like if it does happen, it's not like they're gonna get a lot of damage on. They've seen worse. Trust me. Like just look back at Flight 1. They've seen a lot worse on that pad.
Dug a hole to China.
Then we've got Bob Smith with a $5 super chat. Have you guys seen all the consumables come in yet? Tanker trucks? Yeah, I think we saw a
Oh yeah.
solid bunch of them come in right after that last test. And
And
then I
and for the
mean,
deluge and everything, right?
I think there's even one in front of the tank farm right now. Yeah,
Hmm.
we even saw they come in for the deluge too. So they're loaded up and ready to go. So, yeah, that really all that's left is I think to maybe close up the FTS boxes on the booster, stack the ship, clear everything out of the launch site, and send it. I think that's it. Well, plus a license, but little
I
details.
I wonder if we still got the press plate on, because this might be going on for quite a while before we see the lift, and we can't talk endlessly as much as we'd like to, especially me because I'm old. Um, so we need to probably have a little status check for our people there, because we have a lot of our team there at the pad, and see if the press plate is still on. If the press plate is still on, we're still a while away, especially with no crane there to then do the work to detach it. I mean, we might be a fair while off. The potential is if it goes like in 2 hours or so, I'm more than happy to pop on a microphone and do a commentary stream on Starbase Live. If not, obviously we can't keep this countdown to launch going forever, because I know EJ will want his tea at some point.
Well, Chris, it's countdown to launch. We can count down all those 62 hours, right?
No.
Okay. Being live.
No,
right,
I'm old and my brain won't last.
All right, listen, Chris, there was a lot of things in that sentence that I didn't like.
I'm trying to anglify you. I want to see a behind the scenes of EJ with a kettle boiling.
Oh man.
No, I don't want any of this.
You Americans with your iced tea. Sacrilege.
Hey man, that's a southern thing, all right? I'm from the north. We don't do that, okay?
Fair
we don't
enough.
do that. We drink coffee, all right?
The press plate is still on. I have not. I looked at that a little while back. The crane has not rolled towards the ship, and I have not seen any lifts about it. In fact, it's kind of odd today. I have not seen like any lifts around either of the vehicles almost all
I
day.
think
So
we
I
can,
really
in
don't know what they're
fact,
doing.
yeah, I don't know, maybe from highway or from the outpost cameras, Kevin might be able to see that crane. It's like this little yellow crane. Oh, little. It's little compared to the. Oh,
Yeah, there it is right
it's
there.
blocked by the ticker. Can we remove the ticker? It's right above memberships. where it says gifted memberships. You can see there you go. Thank you. That's the crane.
Oh, yeah, I
the
see it.
plate's still on, and that's the crane to take it off, and it's not near the ship. So,
We're a while away.
yep.
Yeah. And the whole
Well,
reason why they need the crane is because that plate is huge and it weighs a lot, right? So they need a crane to be able to remove that. You're gonna just pop up, some big guy just goes up and removes it. You kind of need a crane for that.
Well, Kevin Michael Reed is our overlord in charge of the buttons and the pressy things that make this stream work. Where am I going with this? I don't know. You can tell it's like I go about an hour and that's it. My brain just goes. We need to sort of make a decision point on maybe Countdown to Launch's stream with the caveat that we have 24/7 coverage regardless on Starbase Live, with the ability to turn on microphones on that stream to talkie if we need to. So maybe we should have a think about that.
Well, we're at our net 62 hours. I mean, I think we should just stream until it launches.
Yeah. What about
I
talkie though?
mean, if you wanna find a way to get me some vacation time at work, then that can work. I'll do it. But otherwise of that, I ain't gonna be on.
I'll do it. You don't know me, son.
There you go.
There's that crane. We got a little closer. Of course, now the image is
Enhanced.
freezing. Yeah, so we did a little bit of an enhance. It doesn't look like it's moving close anytime soon. But watch, as soon as we end the stream, they're gonna move it.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
the crane driver has literally got an iPad with this stream on right now, just going, just you wait until they stop talking.
We know they watch. They do watch.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I
We
know
know they
some definitely watch, yeah.
Hey, we see you. We're not going to blink here. I
Yeah.
swear.
Who will blink first?
So that was all very amusing, but I wonder what the plan is.
You know, Chris, I think you're right. We should probably wrap it up, and we'll come back if it actually looks like it's going to happen.
Wait,
Yeah, that's a good plan.
We are going to blink? Oh.
I mean, I have to work tonight, and I don't know where else you guys have to go. So,
Yeah, I got to work
Yeah.
tonight too.
I'll cover some of the support we have here left. Like it's your Gunfox for 10 gifted 10 red team memberships here. Thank you so much. Quintessa $2 super chat. Not
No,
saying anything.
don't read it. Don't read what he said. Don't do that.
What?
Don't read what Tessa said.
There's
Don't
nothing.
do that. Okay, good.
They didn't say anything.
All right, just ignore him from now on.
Okay.
Is this some kind of like Twitch rivalry going on here?
No, he's one of my moderators, Chris, and he's Scottish.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Just don't listen to him. It's fine.
I'll copy that. All right. Fellstar86, $5 super chat. What damage could be caused to the sticks if the catch doesn't go 100%? They could rip the sticks in the carriage off the tower. They could snap the cables, and the carriage just tumbles down the tower, slams into the base. There's a lot of things that could happen. It wouldn't be good.
Don't have nightmares.
Yep. Justin with a store message. I'm doing my part, and I'm crying that I missed patch 3 and 4. Rip. Can't help you.
No, quick one. I know I don't want to drag us on too much, but yeah, again, when we talk about things saying, look, we've got a set amount of patches we can order in from a company that makes them, we can't then just say, can we have 10 more? Can we have 20 more? Can we have 30 more? We can't do that. We have to buy like a massive bulk in, so we can't do that because we'll have loads left over, and that defeats the purpose. So we have a set amount, and we warn people how much we've got left. We're okay right now for patch 5. That's why we're not doing any warnings. But when we get to 50%, we will definitely say, 40% we'll definitely say. And then when people come back in a few weeks' time and say, why have you got none left? We go, well, we tried warning you. So we do the warnings now as well. Just say, look, once we sell out, we sell out. And that's what happened with 3 and 4. We're okay for 5 right now. But again, they'll get to a point where we won't be all right with 5. So that's why we always say that. We don't say it's a sales tactic. We mean it. We actually do say, look, we've got a set amount in the warehouse. That's all we can do. And that's when they sell out, they sell out.
You got Astro95 Media, $5 super chat, packing up cameras as we speak.
Nathan.
Can't wait to... What?
That's Astro95 Media, right?
Oh, yeah, Nathan Muller.
Yeah. I was like an ooh from Alex. You try doing
No,
Press plates
no,
off.
no,
Press plates come off.
Not that kind of ooh.
Can't wait to show the family around Starbase Saturday. Launch will be icing on the cake. Keep it up, guys. Thank you. Juan Lambers with a $25 super chat. How close would the booster be able to get to the tower if there would be a no way back and they are forced to perform a catch rather than go for a water landing? It's kind of basically the landing burn. If they get to the landing burn and they have an issue, either they go for a catch or they pile drive the wetlands at the beach. That's really their only options at that point.
You know,
Bob
there's going to be a
Smith.
landing or an explosion. Either way, we're all going to have a lot of fun, right?
Taking off is optional. Landing is mandatory.
Facts.
Bob Smith with a $5 super chat. Super happy and excited, but a little scared too. I don't want any setbacks. But you're right about confidence, Chris. Nova with store message. Got to get the full collection. Yep, got to catch them all. Right, EJ?
Yeah. Who's that Starship Patch? It's Flight 5. Da-da-da. Sorry. I'm sorry. Where are you going? No, come back. Come back, chat. You think they're coming back, boys?
Samuel Galloway with a $5 super chat. How many star factories and mega bays are needed to support 1,000 launches a year? Who even knows?
Many.
A lot. Yeah. Bacon Warrior 750 upgraded to Capcom. And then Premier League with another $10 super chat for the ship tiles. Do we know why the ablative layer is under the second layer? So the ablative layer is under the tiles. So it basically goes felt against the tank. Then it goes mesh on top of the felt. Then it goes the ablative. Then it goes the tiles. That's how it's set up. So
and hold the fries.
Yeah, and that's all caught up. So.
By the way, Adrian said in the back channel, if you miss patch 3, you should DM him. No, I'm just kidding. That's not the truth. But you should send him spiders. Just saying.
Also, you should tell Jack to wear a kilt. Like, you really should convince him to wear a kilt. Really, really very convincing. Lots of times.
Yeah, by the way, I see chat going a little bit fun with the FAA. I've not seen anything yet.
Trust me. When
Second
it
we
goes
do
out,
see it, we'll
you'll
know.
know. Trust me. You'll know.
Yeah.
There
It's
will
a
be
bit like
lot of
people in chat who go, scrub.
Yeah, right.
You got to put that evil on us, chat.
I guess that's gonna do it for us, right?
Yep.
Yeah. We'll put a bow on this one.
Yeah, I guess I'll do it. You know, thanks EJ for being on with me and the rest of us for Countdown to Launch for how long did we go for? 3 hours. That's fun.
3 hours on the dot.
Yeah,
Right,
some cam, some not cam.
Good.
By the way, can I quickly thank all our team in the back, especially my producers Jay earlier, Kevin, and also our social team who do amazing work, because we're on X, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're even on TikTok. And all the team who do all that are amazing. So our social team definitely need a shout out. Whenever we get the opportunity to do so, because it's the entire team, not just the people talking or the people who go on camera, who make this all work. And also the support we get is why we can do it, because literally would not be able to do it without it. As I've explained in chat a few times, but I don't want to go long-winded. But thank you for all your support.
And I guess I'll thank Alex here as well for just popping in after Cody left. You know,
it's okay. You don't need to thank me.
No, I don't. Okay, fine. I'll thank you then. And as always, as Jack likes to call it, spaceflight NSF spaceflight actual, if I remember correctly, as he says it. But Chris, thank you.
Yeah,
What?
you're welcome. Yeah, I always get tagged as a kind of like top boss. I'm not. Daz is the top boss. But if people think I'm the top boss and the people who don't like us go, oh, Chris Bergen, I go, well, fine, I'll take it because I don't care. So bring it on me. That's fine. I don't mind at all. But yeah, pleasure as always.
In our hearts.
And then I think the round of producers, we had Carson, Jay, and Kevin Michael Reed doing the producing for these 3 hours. I think that's all three of them. But yeah. thank as always for all the help as you guys always do and keep these shows running as possible. So, yeah.
Thank you, everybody. It's a privilege being here, and we certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
And just as we're about to end, Space Post puts in a $50 super
Wow.
chat. Space be with you.
And also with you.
Right, thank you, Space Pope. And I guess that'll do it for us.
Reading
And
from Rocket Propulsive Elements 8th edition. Wait, what? Sorry.
What?
No, Space
Okay.
Pope. What?
Okay,
No,
okay.
don't worry about it.
Sure.
Nothing.
I won't
Everything's
worry
fine.
about it, EJ. That's fine. I won't worry about it. All right. Well,
We've got the
anyways,
Ask Oscar outro music, Oscar speech where they put the music on saying, "Get off the stage."
Yeah, they're probably saying
at
that
some
anyway, man.
point, SpaceX will lift this ship, whether it's on SBL or we do another dedicated. I don't know what we're doing at this point. I just work here. But thanks for joining us on this countdown to launch, and have fun. Good luck.
And here we go.
We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be normal. R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Probably not.
Tango down to nominal.
Fighting downside FD off. Bring in FD off. It's orange! Orange 25! Oh my god! Oh my god! Decollage! What is it? Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You read? We don't need any more of these.
Okay, are we back? Are we back? I think we are. Cool. All right. Guys, what I'm going to do here. There we go. I hope yep. Okay. Hey, you got to enable the cam again, feller. Ah, there we go. Dude, that was stressful. Not because I haven't hosted stuff before. That was stressful because right when we went live, you guys know how at the beginning of the stream, my monitors went out and we lost connection. It happened again, but we didn't lose connection. All my screens went blank for like the first 20 minutes of that. Oh my God. Oh, it's a freaking nightmare. And then I got everything back, right? And then Synergy decided not to play nice. So I was trying to go through the support queue. I was trying to go through Twitch chat. I was trying to click on the tabs. My mouse cursor went away. Whenever I put my mouse cursor over a program, over a window, it disappeared. Dude, I fixed everything by getting out of the video call, right? But oh my God, the fact that we didn't lose connection, the fact that I didn't go MIA is ridiculous. But that was stressful as hell, dude. Oh, which machine had the driver crash? The one that's streaming, Tessa, but it didn't crash OBS this time. I got so lucky. Oh my goodness, that was almost catastrophically bad. It scared the poop out of me. I was like, no! I'm trying to keep my cool. I'm like, so yeah, that next question, right? Like, I'm like, oh. Okay, anyway, it's fine. I'm going to look over the system over the weekend, Stuart. I'll probably do that on Saturday. Because, yeah, probably do that on Saturday. Can't have that happening on Sunday. Familiar with Emerson, Lake, and Palmer? You're Keith Emerson, bro. 10 keyboards as well. That's pretty high praise. I am familiar with Keith Emerson. Yep. Greg Lake and Carl Palmer. Oh, yeah. I know they are. Karn Evil 9, First Impression, Part 2. Great song. Okay. So. Yeah, Tessa, I don't know. Windows updated again, so we'll see what happens. What is Sunday's probability of violation, including the license? We haven't gotten a POV regarding the weather blinga, but we don't have a license yet. So right now it's just the 13th is a pipe dream until we get the that launch license. We don't need any more of these. Yeah, dude, I was freaking out. I was trying to keep my cool. Drummer, I mean, you want me to ask? I think he may have gone to bed. Yeah, I'll just type that to him just in case. Nice job hosting. Thanks, Rev. Yeah, that was like Flight 4 levels of RUD on my computer. Like, the thing somehow is still staying together. Drummer's gone to bed? Yeah, okay, cool. I'll ask. I tried sending this earlier. I couldn't see chat basically until Cody left. I could not see chat. I was pissed. Because I got it back and then I couldn't. My mouse cursor was disappearing, so I couldn't shift the windows around because I had the NSF queue open. I finally got the support queue thing actually working for a change. And then, man, my computer just takes a dump. If NASA gives the okay over the FAA, will we know other than it leaving the pad? NASA wouldn't do that, Rick. It's going to be the FAA, like pretty damn sure. I don't think they would step on the FAA's toes like that. Anyway, well, the progress on Starship seems fast. Starship was announced in 2012, and the 777X was late 2013. Starship is developing on airliner timetables. Interesting. All right, guys, I'm going to go grab a quick bite to eat. And then, yeah, we'll, it's reach time. You hear that? You hear that? I don't know if Starship was 2012. I could have sworn ITS came around 2014, 2015. All right. Okay. Orbital Mechanics video? I think I was just going to listen to the Halo soundtrack. I'll be back in 10 minutes, dude. So I'll switch us over to the Master Chief Collection.